All right, everyone, I'm back now. I just went live and I was talking and I was talking and I was talking and I was like, I never clicked the go live button. What's up, Zach Attack's already in there. We got Mike Lee dropping by. Hopefully everything went to lag. Too bad. In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, underwater. Oh, that's too good. That's too bad. Oh, Joey G coming into the house. What's up? It's a new age of giant football. I saw the video. Our special guest sent me the video. I'm seeing him prepare himself. He's looking dapper. He's looking the part. The first show did not go. We lost power. We did not have power. Oh, that's right, man. That's right. You're at sea, my friend. We had a bad storm here on Friday. We were without power from 9 in the morning. From 4 in the morning to almost very, very late the next day. We have a generator, but the Jenny wasn't working. Jenny was working, but we just couldn't get the HD signal to go through. Having some coffee. Hope everyone's enjoying our day. What's up, Tim? It's real good, Mr. For Real. Everything's good. Everything's happy. We got OGR Sports dropping in saying, hey, OGR. Glad you can make this morning. If you missed it, go see the stream from Friday. We did a quick stream Friday. Kept losing internet, but we did a quick stream on Friday. Well, not a quick stream. It was a long stream, but OGR was on for the last hour and a half. Putting up with my crap, putting up with my garbage. And we got another guy coming in here who's going to put up my crap. He's going to put up with all my garbage. He's going to talk Giants with us. We're going to talk the offseason. We're going to talk a little bit of everything. We're going to talk about Malik Willis. We're going to talk about all the quarterbacks. We're going to talk about Jake is in the house. We're going to talk a little bit about it. We're going to talk a little bit of everything. We got Charlie dropping in saying, been waiting for this one since yesterday. Let's go. Let's get it started. Let's do these things right. What do we got here? Bad did a 24-hour stream, man. That was crazy. I saw that. I jumped on for a little bit, said hello, made our donation, and then we dropped back. But we're going to drop in our special guest here. He's waiting patiently. He's in his Giants gear. He's looking dapper. He's clean shaven. I'm just joking. And James is like, oh, no, it's James Williams.
Morning.
How you doing, James? If those that do not know James is a subscriber. James is a friend. James has been leaving comments, and he knows his stuff about the New York Football Giants. And I put out a little thing the other day saying that, you know what, if you are an OG member or just a friend, I'm going to have you on for a stream and talk some Giants, talk some G-men. And we got Grant already asking, yes, the Giants need to leave. MetLife sucks. It would not be a day without Grant coming in telling us that MetLife sucks. James, have you been to MetLife?
Yes, I have. I mean, it's all right. You know, they do a lot of the newer stadiums to make it look like prettier, or try to fancy it up. But I don't know, man. To me, like you said, it's not. We should have it. Yeah. It's not the Meadowlands. It doesn't really feel like home. It kind of feels like we're at an Airbnb. You know what I'm saying? Something like that.
I like the Airbnb scenario. To me, it's just all concrete. I mean, like say, well, the Meadowlands was all concrete, but the Meadowlands was the Meadowlands was a dump after they built it. And I think that was the part of the charm, because I think it gave us the home field advantage. It gave us. I remember sitting there in the '86 season, and just the energy in the playoffs against Washington. I mean, it wasn't just the wind that was swirling that day, but there was just an energy, there was just a power in that stadium, and I don't get that when I go into MetLife.
Nah. Meadowlands felt like home. Like you said, it felt like we had the home field advantage. It felt like when teams came in there with the winds and everything, it was like going to an old crickety farmhouse to play in the backyard football. But now it just feels like it's like a hotel, and everybody comes in and they're comfortable. It's like almost like Jerry World, Dallas Stadium. That's not really a home advantage for them. When it's almost like a mini Super Bowl almost to them.
Jerry World is nice.
It is nice, though.
I have to give Jerry World all the credit in the world. Dallas Stadium. You don't want to say anything nice about the Cowboys, but it is nice. We're gonna drop in our first question for you today. Zach Attack's coming in saying, I see more stupid stuff on Twitter. Well, Zach, I told you to stay off Twitter. That Daniel Jones can elevate his talent, and the 2 rookie linemen is okay, even though Daniel Jones is the biggest problem. I did a Malik Willis thumbnail, and I'm not saying we're going to draft Malik Willis. I'm not saying we're not, but I'm not saying we're not going to draft Malik Willis. But James, in your thought process, in your opinion with Zach, and if we stick with Daniel Jones, and we do have potentially three of the 5 linemen as rookies, how is that any better than last year? How's that better? And how's that any better than the last 3 years that people complain about the fact that we've never given him an opportunity?
Well, you know, it's funny. I was watching your stream the other night with my boys, and you know, anyone that's been in the chat knows I'm not a big Daniel Jones guy. You know, I'm not hating on the man, but the player, just to be clear. But he is supposed to do a job, and he hasn't done that job. And if you actually Google Daniel Jones recently, he left a quote, which is kind of crazy to think that he's going into like year 4. Yeah. And this is the first time that he's actually came out and said, you know, I haven't played well and I need to step it up. And what's going on for real? And I need to play better. I need to, you know, hold myself accountable. And it's like, to me, it's like, it's kind of crazy that we're going into year 4. And this is the first time I've ever heard him say, oh, I haven't played well. And it doesn't matter what, you know, John Mara said, but I have to come out and I have to show that I can lead this team. And it's like, really, buddy?
You're not
like, like it's almost like 6. Yeah, like I think, you know what it is? I think with the Shane coming in and the new regime and new people in the building, and it's I think like the, you know, with that ad that Tommy put out with us this morning that I think most of us seen. Yeah. You know, I think the vibe in the building is changing, and I think for the first time he's looking around like, oh, I have to actually go out here and play. I think I'm actually, you know, going to be held accountable this year. So to me, the Daniel Jones experiment is over, man.
We got 2 hours.
The Daniel Jones experiment, I mean, I think it's over, people. You know, like it's not about we don't want to see him succeed. It's about he's just not succeeding. Right. And then when you add on the injuries, it's kind of like if you were a new coach coming in and you've watched Daniel Jones, you know, you see, would you really want to risk your career going forward, your future on this guy who he hasn't even played a full 16, which is now 17 games yet since we had him?
No, like I said, if I am a GM, if I am the Shane, I think we all know what I'm doing. Malik Willis. I'm dropping number 7. Of course, Mel Hein is number 7, but we're going to drop number 13 in on this. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing, James. Mr. Lewis is in the chat. Roldy Lewis is jumping into the chat going, what's up, Tim? What's up, James? What's up, everybody? We also have Mike Lee dropping off because Mike Lee is at sea. He's on a cruise.
Oh, Mike Lee, safe sailing.
And we're
Get
not
back safe.
He's on a very long cruise. He's not even on a cruise that he'll be back in a long time. So, let's see here. He's good. We got a question. We got Davey. Davey's coming in here saying that basically Malik Willis. I think you're wrong about Malik Willis. He's going to be a bust. James, I don't want to give you the Dom treatment and ban you because I don't have to. Malik Willis. He's on the thumbnail. He's the quarterback. He's a guy that I think could turn this franchise around. Go on the record right now. Malik Willis. Bust, boom, giant or no giant. I don't like that deep breath.
No, because I want to, you know, make sure I say this right. So, number one, I think we have it's 50-50 right now drafting him as far as us personally. You know, I think it's 50-50. But I will say the more as time is going, I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like Shane, you know, he was there scouting him while he was in Buffalo.
Twice, the Syracuse game and the Ole Miss game.
Exactly, like there personally.
And he was standing behind him in the end zone for almost the entire time he threw during the Senior Bowl.
And you know what I say about bust or not? Think about this. If Malik Willis came out and had the career like Donovan McNabb,
Right.
what would Giants fans say? Like, let's say he played for like 12, 14 years. Maybe we made a Super Bowl, didn't win it. Maybe we don't make a Super Bowl, but we go to, let's say, the NFC chip maybe 4 or 5 times, and we go to the playoffs and we're competitive. And is that a bust? You know, everything
for Giant fans. Fault. Yeah, I would say that.
Well, if that's a bust, then we might as well send Daniel Jones to the wood chipper. Because
I don't wood chipping Daniel Jones. I mean, I don't like the kid. I'm not throwing on a wood chipper yet.
No, I mean, you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying. I'm just being a smart ass. You should know that. It's 10:30 in the morning. The smart ass in this started like the minute I woke up. I think this is the problem with Daniel Jones. He's going to be always compared to Eli Manning. That's
which is crazy.
That's plain and simple.
Which is crazy.
You have to. It's like replacing. It's like replacing Derek Jeter. You know, it's like replacing Joe Namath after he won the Super Bowl. First quarterback throw for over 4,000 yards. The quarterback after, he's the rebound girl. That's what, you know, you break up with your girlfriend and he's the rebound chick. That's what I think of Daniel Jones. And it has nothing to do with him not having talent. And I like Rolly put it this way best about Daniel Jones. He doesn't have the it factor. When he comes onto the field, I don't know about you, but when he comes on the field, I don't sit there filled with confidence like, oh, that Daniel Jones, man, he's gonna rock it. He's gonna take us down the field for a touchdown. I always think to myself, what the hell's gonna happen next?
The best way to sum it up to me is go ask all your friends and family who are non-Giants fans.
Yeah. Especially
if they play the Giants, and ask them, do you fear Daniel Jones? When the Giants come into your stadium or you come into ours, do you feel like, oh, this kid, he's gonna drop 350 and 3-4 touchdowns on us? Like, if the game's on the line and you're playing us with that, do you feel like, oh man, this one's over, this DJ's gonna do it?
Yeah.
Most of them will say no.
It's like the fact that, like I said, I'm not gonna go too far back, like with Phil Simms. I was at the Vet. And it wasn't even the Link. It was the Vet when Phil Simms played. And Eagle fans hated Phil Simms. Couldn't stand him. Same thing with Eli Manning. I was there at the Link many times that Eli Manning played. Eagle fans hated him. Not only because they hated him because he was a Giant, but they hated him because they always knew he was going to do something. I've gone to the Link with Daniel Jones as quarterback, and there's not that same animosity. There's not that same, we hate this guy because he's going to screw us somehow as an Eagle fan because he's going to do something good. And I don't even see that yet.
No. You know, I really don't understand the Eli Manning comparisons. To let's be serious. Let's be serious. Why do we compare him to Eli Manning?
Because the fan base, you got to remember, James, and we've talked about this. There's a lot, especially on YouTube. There's a lot younger fan base, and Eli Manning goes back to 2004. So the problem is you're looking at a guy that's had, the guy that there's spanned 17 years, not playing for the Giants 17 years, but it spans 17 seasons. And so their point of reference is only Eli Manning. They don't know Phil Simms. They don't know Jeff Rutledge, Scott Bruner. They don't, they don't know Charlie Conley, Y.A. Tittle, Franz Harkinson. They don't know any of that. All they know is it must have been great coming in as a Giant fan in 2007. Because then you get the Super Bowl, then 2011 you have another Super Bowl. So when all you know is success, you can't handle failure. And we've had a lot. We've had a lot of failure. not a little bit, a lot.
This is true, but we need to get away from the nostalgia and the member berries and the just feel good memories, because let's just speak facts.
Yeah.
Quick, real facts, right?
I think facts. I think that's the best way to put it. We got Anthony saying, "Well, Malik Willis has got nothing on Jones."
We'll see.
Dan Campbell and people. I talked to people about the interview Dan Campbell did at the Senior Bowl, and people have been sending me his quotes. And I actually did a video about Dan Campbell's quotes from the Detroit Lions, and he basically came in. They were kind of surprised by Malik's size and built, how he was built. They were surprised that he came in that week and really adapted to a pro playbook. within a very short period of time. All he could talk about is all the things that they were shocked that Malik Willis did well. And the silent reporter asked him during the game, how much do you want to draft Malik Willis? And I remember I laughed because I did a video about it, and the look at the guy's face, it's almost like, I can't say nothing, but if there's a possibility, I can move towards that direction. And I think that is what we wanted when Daniel Jones got drafted 6th overall. But I don't think everyone felt that way. And the only thing Zach has summed it up perfectly right here. Malik Willis is either going to have a very high ceiling and a very low floor. I've said it before. I personally think he's either going to be Vic Ultralight or he's going to be a Kiwi Smith. I don't think there's going to be any gray area in between if you're going to draft Malik Willis.
Yeah, I agree. And that's probably what's scaring a lot of Giants fans, because he's not like it's not like when Cam Newton came out and was like, oh, okay, it's Cam, Auburn. Right. We seen what he did on the big stage against big teams, and I understand that, Liberty, small school, not known, doesn't play against top competition. But guess what? Duke, where Daniel Jones came from, it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing. It's a small school football wise. Not a lot of big quarterbacks, or really any quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, have ever came out of Duke University and actually made something of themselves.
Yeah, and turned into something special.
So for the one argument that we have to throw away is, he didn't play against anybody, and it's from a small school, and he's kind of unknown. I didn't know who Daniel Jones was until 48 hours before the draft, Tim.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people even said that. We're going to drop a big tuta super chat. Salute to Tim, dropping by the office. Pay the proper respect for all Giant fans around. Would the world that slipped all over the stinky boys losers out the door. I always get fired up when Tuto drops into the room. I always get excited. Anthony Johnson, I want to talk to you a bit about Phil Simms. Don't even talk about Phil Simms. Take Phil Simms out of your mouth. Because the fact I wasn't comparing him to Daniel Jones, because there is no comparison. You can't compare the 70s and the 90s. Phil Simms still threw for over 33,000 yards, 199 touchdowns, 157 interceptions, 1 Super Bowls. Technically, he should have won 2 Super Bowls. People don't remember he was 2nd overall for Offensive Rookie of the Year back in '79, had a record of 95 and 64, and completed over 60% of his passes the last 2 seasons of his career under Dan Reeves. He was a gunslinger. He was a thrower. He was a guy that led the team. He was a leader of men. So you take Phil Simms out of your mouth. You know what, Anthony? You pissed me off.
But Tim, that's a good point.
He pissed me off. Wait a minute.
Y'all already know it's about to happen to him.
You already know it's going to happen.
Nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
We're putting him in timeout. Anthony, you're in timeout. You don't bash Phil Simms. You don't talk about Phil Simms. You don't take Phil Simms. You take Phil Simms out of your mouth.
That's blasphemy.
That is blasphemy.
That's blasphemy.
I have a full-size autographed Phil Simms helmet right next to my desk, along with the Franklin Mint, Phil Simms. No, excuse me, the Danbury Mint Phil Simms statue from the '86 Super Bowl. You never talk about Phil Simms.
But Tim, that's Anthony. I'm glad he did what he just did, because that's the problem in Giant Land. His first comment was, "Oh, Willis has nothing on Jones."
Yep.
Okay, that's debatable. We don't know. We'll see. And then you follow that up with, "Oh, Phil Simms wasn't good.
Right.
Low completion rate." You know what that means? You don't know what you're talking about, brother.
You never watched football in the 70s and 80s. I've said this before, especially in the mid-90s. The cornerback could mug the wide receiver, hit him with a pipe, kneecap him, go home, kick his dog, put a dent in his car, and they still wouldn't call a flag. They would never throw a flag.
Totally different time. Totally different time. It's like, the big LeBron versus Jordan debate. Right. And you can go back and forth on that. But one thing you can't debate is Michael Jordan took a beating.
Yeah.
He took a beating. Go look at the highlights of Rick Mahorn and Bill Laimbeer laying elbows into him.
The Knicks series.
The Knicks series. When did LeBron ever get checked? First of all, LeBron is a monster. So nobody's really hip checking him, or knocking him down. But what physical play? What the Celtics? And the old three, like that's really it. Nah, Mike. One thing we cannot debate is in the past, sports in general, just it was a different time. I know on your stream the other day you were talking about analytics. Analytics is taking over things. Different, health also, which is important.
That is important.
So,
I think that's more important than analytics.
Yeah, of course. So, well, I think so, but
Well, that's all. If you think so, and I think so, that's all that matters.
Yeah, but there's a lot of the analytics debate versus like just what's real, what's which non-intangible, which you can't see, which you can't write down. It's gonna go on for the rest of time in sports, but the health reasons, like we said, especially in football. I know in basketball, you actually have players in basketball taking games off. It'll say I have a strain or whatever, but you're just taking games off, buddy.
Well,
that was never back in the day.
They even have it now where they say it's a rest day. They'll
say
they can't play back-to-backs because it's a rest day.
Patrick Ewing had the knees of a 95-year-old Asian woman, and I say that affectionately, but he did, and he never took rest days unless he was seriously hurt.
Do you remember the knee pads that he used to wear? I mean, they were like this.
They were like shoulder pads.
Yeah, they were like
shoulder pads.
Knees. And people,
come on now.
I like Davey's got a good one. I love Steve McNair too. He adjusted well. Can Malik adjust? That's my question. Steve McNair, Division III, Acorn State. Aaron McNair. You want to talk about playing lesser talent? That's what McNair did, and he came in and succeeded in the NFL quite well. He had a very rapid demise outside of football after what happened. But it's he didn't play. People forget that in 2020 and 2021, Malik Willis played against top 25 teams. It's not like and he had his Liberty team in the top 20 in 2020. So it's not like he was just beating up on Sister Mary of the Poor.
Even if you watch his games, and the games, like I know he has a couple of games, he didn't look good and he's getting sacked and hit a lot. But that shows toughness. Just like Steve McNair, that shows toughness and grit. And that's what you need to have at the quarterback position. And that's another thing that unfortunately did. Daniel Jones, he could be nice all he wants, but he's not the toughest guy. Like Tuto right there. Daniel Jones looks in the mirror and thinks he sees Tuto's profile pic right there.
Oh, that is me. I was show. That's me. See, that's me. That's me. Tuto went out, took a picture of me coming in the shower. I don't know how, but Tuto dropping it with the game. The Tuto super chat. We're all injured. We're all banged up, but it's all worth to be where we are now. It hurts a biz. Only strong conquer the losers. Carted out the pitch. He's right. And that's and I never really compared rugby to football, and I know there's some comparisons, but because Dom said I was a hooker, and I told him I'd be a very high price hooker. All right, we'll just work off of volume, but there is a lot of leverage, there's a lot of strength involved, and it's the same thing. When you're banged up, you play. There's a difference, and I've said this before, and it's something that a lot of people don't understand who have never played. There's a difference between being hurt and being injured.
Yes.
There's a world of difference.
Yes.
When you're hurt, you go out and play. When you're injured, then you stay off the field.
Then you stay out. Yes.
And I think that's what a lot of and I'm not saying Daniel Jones, God forbid, don't anyone think I'm saying this, but I'm not saying Daniel Jones is not able to play hurt. But like I said, it's just interesting to me that our quarterback for 3 years now can't complete an entire season, can't make it through an entire season. Lord knows what's going on with the neck.
Oh, well, we won't even know until basically it's August. Getting to that. Yeah. And by August, the season is getting ready to start.
Yeah. We have the fifth-year option in May.
Oh, the fifth-year option thing. I mean, come on, man. It's really scary. My boy actually said this to me, and he said, it's going to be a nightmare for you, James, if God forbid he comes out and he plays pretty decent this year. And I don't even know what pretty decent would look like from him. Like, I guess it would be, number one, he'd have to play every game.
Yeah.
I guess his touchdown to I don't even know what his ratio would have to be to turnovers, because he's still going to have turnovers. Mm-hmm. God forbid he goes into a season and maybe has under under 10 turnovers, but he would have to look like Aaron Rodgers mixed with Michael Vick to me for us to even think about picking up the 5th-year option.
Oh yeah. And there's no way we could, because like I said, we got to pick it up in May. I can't pick up a $20-something million option on a kid that can't stay healthy after 3 years.
We have so many holes. We need to put that money towards other resources to rebuild this team. If you want to build this team, then paying Daniel Jones $25 million is not going to help.
No,
an extra $25 million. Excuse me.
And Mr. OGR with the big super chat here. Phil Simms is a borderline Hall of Famer. If it wasn't for John Elway, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, Joe Montana. I always say this, and I understand exactly what OGR is talking about. And I always say this: Troy Aikman is in the Hall of Fame. Troy Aikman and Phil Simms have very similar stats. Troy Aikman played on super teams, and he made the Hall of Fame. Kurt Warner basically had 6 good seasons, and then he kind of toiled around for a while. Then he had another 2 good seasons, and he's in the Hall of Fame. And he technically has less Super Bowls than Phil Simms. I'm just throwing that out there. Mr. Lewis says, I remember the Ewing knee pads.
Pads was crazy, bro. The pads was crazy.
The pads were insane. Eric says, I like Malik a lot. Just don't know if he's worth the risk at 7, especially if we take him over Gardner, Hamilton, or Lloyd. You know what? My thing is this. I've said it before, James, and I think I've said it a million times. Be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. When is the last time the Giants did something bold? I don't consider Daniel Jones bold. I consider Daniel Jones a mistake because we could have had Josh Allen. But really, when is the last time, if you step out from your fan hat, I'm not even wearing a hat, I'm wearing a Batman t-shirt, and you sit there and you say, when is the last time the Giants, and there's been so many players in the last 10 years that have had issues, that may have had character issues, may have had perceived drug problems, may have just been bad guys, but the Giants passed on them. They passed on the personality and they didn't look at the talent. When is the last time the Giants say, you know what? We're going to throw caution to the wind. We're going to just sit there and say to ourselves, let's just take a shot because maybe something great can happen. When's the last time we did that in the draft?
That's a damn good question. I'm sitting here while you're getting,
Google that.
I'm sitting here trying to rack my mind now while you were setting that up.
I know I was vamping a little bit so you would have some extra time.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, when is the last time that we really do caution to the wind and said, you know what,
screw it. This guy can ball. Yeah, he may be, he may be smoking something, wearing a gas mask. We don't know, even though it comes out on Instagram. We don't know what's going on here. This guy could have a questionable past. We don't know. But this is a kid that comes from a Baptist college, praises the Lord in his interviews, has evidently immense talent. So to me, it's not like they're really swinging away, besides the fact that you don't know if he's going to fail. But outside of any other draft pick, you don't know if they're going to fail. How many number 1 draft picks overall have failed? How many picks at 249 turned into Super Bowl champions? The draft is a crapshoot. Everyone thinks we have 2 top 10 picks. That means we're going to have 2 top 10 players in the league. No, it doesn't mean that.
Well, 2 things. One, Giants fans, we have to, we're all fans. Mm-hmm. Fan is short for fanatic. Yep. Means we're all a little crazy. At least Tim and I can admit we're a little crazy because we are. and it's all right.
It's all good.
But with that, we have to take our fandom out of it and really think reality this year and with this new regime. You can still have, high hopes. All you Daniel Jones fans, hey, guess what? Pray that he comes out and throws for 45 touchdowns.
Yep. It
can happen. Daniel Jones may come out and he may have the best season a quarterback ever had this year. I don't know. Hey, more power to him because it'll help us. However, we have to look at what's more likely to happen.
Yep.
What's realistic. So I see some fans, after watching the Bengals going, oh, we can make a run next year. Probably not.
Nope.
Probably not.
No, we got at least a couple years away.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, man, Zach dropping. I don't want to interrupt, but Zach's dropping in with a big super chat saying defense is not allowed to play defense anymore, and we all know who Zach is. Who are you, man? I'm the Googler. Zach is the Googler because we all know Dom can't Google, and Dom's not here, and I'm not going to make James Google. So we have Zach as the Googler.
Zach is Mr. Moneybags. He always comes up with the finance numbers quick.
He's got to come. He does. He comes up with that stuff real quick. Davey says, "Play inert and injured is from the movie The Program." Do you remember it? I remember The Program.
Oh.
I actually was there during the filming of The Program, David S. Ward movie. So I know it actually extremely well. But the problem is it didn't come from that movie. I've heard that saying going back to Pop Warner in the 80s. That there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. Parcells said that a million times. So it's not just from The Program. I'm not calling you out there, Davey. But I just want to drop that. And Tuto dropping in another big super chat saying here, we grind, we pay, we sweat daily to work out muscle every opponent, turn every single victory. We exclaim to claim what belongs to us. I think that kind of sums it up.
The Giants should have Tuto write like inspiring like stuff to inspire them before every game, or just have Tuto just hand out phrases on their play sheet every week, just to get them pumped up.
I tell you, I get fired up when I read his comments. I get pumped up. Mr. Lewis coming here and said, Tim, when do you think we'll start the cuts? Because I can't wait to get the dead weight off this team. Well, we have to be under the cap by March 16th. So that is the start of the new league year, and you have to be under the salary cap. So the cuts, James, have to start soon. We're already on the 20th. So technically, what are we? 8 days, 16th. That's 24 days away before we have to be under the cap. And
I think Shane said he had a goal he wanted to reach. I don't know if he's going to 40 million under, right? 40 million. Okay.
I don't know how, because he's got at least 12 to 14, depending on bonuses that he's got that we're kind of over the cap right now. So to clear that 40, he would have to clear 54. So I mean that's and there are a guy, and like I said, I think for Zach, what are the numbers? I think believe that 40% of our cap is the top 4 players, and that's of course Kenny, Leonard, Adoree Jackson,
and Bradbury.
And I think Bradbury's gone. I think we're better off trading him or trying to trade him because we will save more money on the trade. But I mean, I don't want to get rid of Bradbury because I said this before. Even though you save $9 million, if you're going to go spot for spot because he's your number one corner, you're going to have to find a number one corner either in the draft or free agency that makes $9 million.
Yeah.
Or is willing to take $9 million that first season. Because I mean, and I know that's a simplistic way to look at that. You're going to go, space for space, but that's kind of the way I look at it. When people are like, well, we got to get rid of this guy. You have to replace that guy with somebody. And sometimes if you're replacing him with someone making a lesser salary, you're also replacing them because they're a lesser talent.
And also keep in mind, if we actually had a pass rush last year, our secondary wouldn't have been exposed so much.
Yeah.
The guys we had out there, they weren't the best, but they weren't completely garbage either. We had no pass rush. Nope. There would be times where quarterbacks are just sitting there, first option, second option, third option, back to the first option. You could see
went back.
You could see him doing it.
Yeah.
And God forbid if a quarterback had scramble ability.
Oh, forget about
it. It was a joke. So if we through the draft and with Wink here and the new coaching, because that's the other thing where I think us as Giants fans, we have to be realistic. Our coaching in the last 10 years, it's been kind of crappy as far as building up players and keeping what player have we drafted in the last 5 years is here right now having an impact, like past their rookie deal?
None.
That's horrible.
That is horrible.
Horrible.
We did a video. I did a video. When did I do a video? A couple months ago, where I talked about the Giants drafts and how in the last 10 years how many people we have on the Giant roster still, but how many people were still in the league. And it was something ridiculous. Like the Giants only had like 6 people on the roster, but there was like 20 guys still in the league, which told me is the Giants didn't understand or knew how to either cultivate talent or hold on to the talent that they had. And I hope that with Shane, that philosophy is going to change. And now Jose G, I haven't seen you in a while. It comes in with a big question. Do you see Joe trading either one of the top 10 picks? I already know. I think everyone knows my opinion. You might have to, unless you're going to take Malik, because of the fact that we are so. I mean, it's great having 2 top 10 picks, but you have to remember the rookie, and everyone always forgets the rookie salary pool and the role of 51. Everyone always forgets that. And those are 2 important things that when people do their cap analysis, they forget to look at that. And 2 top 10 picks, their contracts are going to maturate at the same time for the 5 years, which means that numbers
pay those guys
go up. So in some ways, I said it's better to be around 14, 15 than to have 5 and 7, have 5 and then like 15 or 14. So I personally, unless I was taking Malik Willis and then Devin Lloyd, I would trade out and try to get some more assets and then try to get that cap number down to try to move forward a little bit into free agency. What about you, James?
I kind of want the combo you just said, Malik and Devin Lloyd, or Malik and an offensive lineman. I'm not gonna lie, the Linderbaum thing is kind of growing on me. Maybe not at 5, but it's growing on me. But I think you're right. The more I think about it, and that's what I mean with taking your fandom out of what is reality. And yes, do I want to take 2 top 10 players and get 2 impact players and have them come right on and help the team? Of course, we all do. But what's best for the team? What's best for the future, given the situation that Joe Shane was left right now? And unless he really is thinking or trying to convince Mara, like, hey, you know what? Let me take my guy Malik now, and then like you said, a Devin Lloyd or some kind of offensive lineman, which we also need, of course. Then he may have to trade back just to acquire more assets. That was the best thing Gettleman did, probably in his almost entire tenure here, was enable us to have these extra picks now while he's gone. Might be the best thing he ever did while he was here.
Oh, I agree.
Seriously.
I agree. Tuto, dropping in the Tuto super chat. Our team has 2 nights 3 years ago. We built our team to the draft, got rid of the BS high paid garbage, players little, build a better culture. I hate the word culture. We've been a championship conversation ever since. You know what? The only thing is, I hate the word culture. I have played in locker rooms where people hated each other. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you are in the locker room. It's how you perform on the field. The Dallas Cowboys back in the 90s had the worst culture, and they had a stripper house. They had drugs flowing in left and right. They had a terrible culture. The Giants in '86, Phil Simms and Lawrence Taylor hated each other. That's to me. You know what? Culture is the new. I don't like to pick on Gen Zs and that, but that's the new thing. Culture. Everyone has some nice culture about it. There are plenty of locker rooms that won championships that the players hated each other. But you know what? When it was time to play and go out on the court or on the ice or on the field, they played, and they played well, and they won championships. So, like I said, to me, and that's what I think the Giants have been doing for years, looking for good culture guys. Daniel Jones, well, he's a nice kid. He kisses his mother. He walks old ladies across the street. I've said it before. That's great. Go sell insurance. I would rather have an asshole for a quarterback who can read defenses. That's what I was saying about culture. Sorry, I had to go on a tangent for a minute.
No. Good. One little point to add on to that is Charles Oakley is making the rounds doing interviews because he has a book that he's selling, about him, his time in the NBA, especially his time with the Knicks, of course. And I think he's talking to Rich Eisen in one of his interviews. You can find it on YouTube. And he literally talks about how as good as the Knicks were in the 90s, they weren't close.
No.
They didn't hang out. When the game was over, everybody
went their different
ways. Him and Pat, they didn't go. They wasn't hanging out with girls. They wasn't hitting the clubs. John, Doc, Anthony, they all went and did their own thing. But when it was time to come and play, they played. They played hard. Of course, having a coach like Pat Riley, good leadership there helps. But they didn't hang out. Of course, they didn't win the championship, but they were a dominant team in the 90s. They were respected. They played hard
because some guy named Jordan.
Well, of course,
a lot of people didn't win championships.
and unfortunately, John Starks decided to go 0 for 40 from the 3-point line in Game 7, which I can't even bring that up anymore.
Everyone forgets the one player though, Charles Smith.
Oh my God! Please don't
twice underneath. How do you twice or three times underneath the basket?
Don't. What is he? 6'10"? Like he was like the man in college, and that. It's like just oh my God! It was like watching a mugging, but in slow motion.
How do you miss underneath the basket, get your real own rebound, and then miss again?
That and what annoys that and the Ewing finger roll, like just glide in there and Ross dunk that thing, man. You're 7 feet. What are you doing?
You're 7 feet tall. Just dunk it. Oh, thank you.
Oh my goodness.
LaCroix.
LaCroix
on the green screen. Phil Simms would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Didn't get hurt versus the Bills. Yeah, he would have. I mean, like I said, he would have, because people forget the 90 season. The Giants at one point were 90 season run defeated. And then they lost a game, and then he got hurt in the Buffalo game. Then Hostetler came in, and people forget in 90 Parcells was pissed in that last game of the season against New England because New England sucked and we barely beat them. And there was a whole big thing about going into the playoffs. But I agree that he should have been. I still agree Phil Simms should be in the Hall of Fame. Troy Aikman arguably had the greatest O-line in NFL history.
Troy Aikman had the greatest of a lot on his team. A lot,
receiver,
running back. Like, Troy Aikman was blessed. More power to him, but he was blessed.
Yeah.
And the Phil Simms point. Don't forget the playoff game against Denver, where he was like magical, and like I think his completion rate was like 95.
Yeah, that was in the Super Bowl. He was Super Bowl. Yeah, he had the number one completion record, and
so. That man performed on the biggest stages.
Yeah. I like this question. Malik Willis doesn't sound like the smartest person because we already know what's gonna happen to you.
Good day, sir.
You didn't get put in timeout. You got banned. You got banned for that one. First of all, it's not that you just got banned for your comment about Malik, because I'd ban anyone for making that comment anyway, because you should not ever question anyone's intelligence because you don't know them personally.
Yeah, and honestly, I got news for everybody. Most athletes are not brain surgeons. No. That's why they're athletes, because they're blessed with physical ability. Most athletes don't even remember to call timeout. So
some athletes forget how much time they have.
Yeah, let's calm that down.
So, it's funny though, because people always say it to me. Because like I said, I actually had a 3.6 GPA in college, and people are always like, "Wow, you were a jock, you were dumb." I was like, no, Tim can read. I was like, I used to always feel like I can read. Tim's smart. So, but like I said, so you can't ever question. I don't care. I don't care if it was Malik. I don't care if it's anybody. You never question someone's intelligence unless you personally know them. That's just wrong. Lorenzo, what's going on, Lorenzo? I haven't seen you in a while. Why are they called DJ fans when most people just want them for a year? That's a good point. I don't think any of us are DJ. That is a great point. You have the DJ fanatics.
There's some fanatics out there. But
now you have all these people, James, that are just like, well, we'll keep DJ for and these are the same people that were saying how wonderful it is, but now they're like, well, we'll just keep him for a year and then draft Bryce Young. Well, that's really not really supporting your quarterback if you want to have him just as a quarterback for a year.
But that's not a plan. That's not a plan either. Like, what happened with we're going to wait for Herbert plan? And Herbert said, oh yeah, no, you keep on waiting. Yeah. So that's not a plan. Bryce Young goes out, breaks his arm, never the same again. Yeah. We have no idea what's going to happen.
Tua got hurt. He still got drafted pretty high, but he got hurt. No one knew if he was going to come back. I don't think he's ever been the same player than he was in college.
Yeah, no, I
don't know if that has anything to do with the injuries, but I don't know. Wolfie, call me crazy. All right, you're crazy. That was a good comment. I'm sorry. Call me crazy, But I hope Jones doesn't succeed, because if he does, we'll have to pay him. Then we can't rebuild the team and going back and stuck another 4 or 5 extra years. I think if Daniel Jones, if we don't pick up the option, this is my thought. If we don't pick up the option and he succeeds, I still may trade him. Because again, Leonard Williams scenario, 5 good seasons, 1 great season. You forgot about these 5 and I got paid for 1. And look what happened.
Oh, Julius Randle.
I don't want to talk about Julius Randle.
No, I don't either. But it's just a good correlation there.
That makes me sad. It made me sad. I don't want to be sad.
I'm sorry. No, don't be sad, man. Don't be sad. But no, Wolf, I think most we're on the same page, because think about it. If Shane actually does what he says in the press conference, which I think most intelligent people know that's just filler and he's being political when he says he's going to rebuild around Jones and moving forward and yada, yada, yada. But it's not a rebuild. It's actually a rebuild. Rebuild. So a rebuild, you're already trying to fix what was broken.
Right.
This is a rebuild. So like, come on now.
We're trying to refix the foundation we already fixed before we fixed it again and put the second house on top of it.
What? Who does what? No,
Exactly.
It's time to move and find a new lot.
It's time to move and get a new house. Find something that we got to find a house that was not made on top of an ancient Indian burial ground. Because I keep thinking poltergeist. I keep thinking, man, it's got to be. And the house got sucked into the void at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So the Giants need to have their house sucked into the void, or we have to move the house so the ancient Indian burial grounds curse can be broken. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
He's like, what the blank did I just get?
No. I wanted to say something because you said Indian burial ground. But I said no. I'm not going there. It's Sunday. But but no, it's
the Lord's
Sunday.
Day. It's the Lord's Day. It's okay,
but,
Tim. It's okay. I enjoy your chats. I love you, Davey. I love you too. I love everybody. I got nothing but love. And we got Zach coming to Daniel Jones post trade June 1st and pre-trade are the exact same 4.1 million in dead cap number. So we could trade him. Draft Malik. Get his neck looking like it's healed by getting him into a game preseason. Then we ship him off to the Steelers.
Well, that's why I have no problem with putting Daniel Jones out there, helping him. Let's help him look good. Yes, let's butter him up, like put him in the prettiest jersey ever, and then get the best return we can for him in a trade, please. Like, and I can't wait till he goes somewhere else, so we all can see him, because there's this misconception that, well, if he was on another team, he'd actually reach his full potential. And it's like, okay, well, we're going to find out, hopefully, because Mitch Trubisky, who actually went to the playoffs and actually has had more success than Daniel Jones, the minute he was a free agent and had a chance to try to be a starter again, he decided to be a backup.
Yep.
Because he knew there wasn't a lot of options out there. I'm not what I guess as good as I think I am. Let me just take this job. And I got a feeling Daniel Jones is going to fall into that category too of, you know what? Let me just take this job here, being a backup here.
Yep. Yeah. And just kind of go. And I think he should. We got another two super chat. Our team was second to last night 3 years ago. We built our team through the draft to get rid of the BS high price garbage players. A little bit of build culture. We talked about that one, the build culture one. I forgot we did that one already because I got behind in the chat, but it was still a good. I wanted to see this one about Davey here. Davey, you just told me you love me, then you come up with a dumb statement. Jumbo Elliott, William Roberts, Brian Williams, Bob Crouch, Doug Riesenberg were the not too bad offensive line. Phil Simms, he had quite a good offensive line for some of the Pro Bowlers. Here's the problem. 86, Chris Godfrey was on that line. 86, Bart Oates was on that line. 86, Bill Lard, Carl Nelson, and don't forget Brad Benson were on those lines. All of them were serviceable linemen outside of Godfrey and Oates, who came over from the USFL, from the Stars for Oates, and from the Michigan Panthers for Godfrey. So you're mixing lines. You're mixing championship lines. They had their line in 86 was referred to as the Suburbanites. and they played well together. And the only one on that line that was a Pro Bowler later was going to be William Roberts and Bart Oates. So yes, some of what you're saying is true, but a lot of it is a misconception of history.
And that's still nothing compared to what Troy had in Dallas.
Troy had a wall.
So it's not, you know, so a couple of Pro Bowlers, like you said, compared to the Great Wall of Texas, no, that's
but
not.
He didn't have Pro Bowlers
you know.
during the season. Aikman had sometimes 2-3 Pro Bowlers on a championship line. Phil Simms, like I said, had Brad Benson. 86 was his last year. He was a journeyman. He's the guy that always had his broken nose. Ard went out a couple years later from cancer. And then, like I said, no, it was Carl Nelson. I'm sorry, they went out for cancer. Ard was a serviceable guard at best. You had Roberts, who filled in at 86. And like I said, you're comparing people's careers over, not comparing them to the actual championship season they were in. So that's when it comes to Giant history, man.
No, you know your stuff, brother. Like that's why we're here.
With me. I'm old. There's me and Dirt. And right now, Dirt's winning. Jose G coming in here. Tim, I know a lot of people are talking about Jones' fifth-year option, but no one is talking about Big Dex's fifth-year option. We did on Friday with OGR. Would you pick up Dexter Lawrence's fifth-year option?
Right now, I can't. Right now, I can't. If we're being serious about moving forward, we were just talking about the houses thing, right? Building a house.
Mm-hmm.
If we give him a fifth-year option, it's almost like saying, well, we're hoping this pumpkin turns into a Maserati.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he's as bad, that bad, but it's kind of like we have to stop. The players are what they are. People are what they are. I've said this many times in the stream. I'm a Ohio State fan. I was a big Dwayne Haskins guy. I was wrong about him. I could sit here every day and be like, oh, I hope Dwayne Haskins magically turns into Cordell Stewart 2.0 and wins the starting job in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Is
that really going to happen? Probably not. And we have to take that same mentality with our team. It's Dexter Lawrence, but it goes back to the cultivate thing that I was saying earlier, where Dexter Lawrence should be better than what he is. Some of these players, Will Hernandez, he's turned into putty now, but he wasn't this bad when he first came here. Darius Slayton, he hasn't gotten any better catching the ball. Sometimes I think he's getting a little worse. Why are these guys who are here for 3-4 years, why are they not getting better? Why are they getting worse? But to answer the question, Dexter Lawrence, right now, no. Because in the draft, if my scouting and my coaching are doing their due diligence, I can find another option.
Yeah,
I can find another option.
Yeah. Davey has redeemed himself again. The 85 Bears never liked each other. They did. The 85 Bears hated each other. There was two factions on the 85 Bears. There was the defense and there was the offense. 85 season was the only time after the Super Bowl win that two people got carried off the field, Buddy Ryan and Mike Ditka. That's how separated the team was. They hated each other.
Yeah.
I mean, the only person that blended in on both sides was Jim McMahon. And that was the because he was just crazy. Jose G, I remember them saying that from when I was on, I don't have to like you to work with you. And that's true. I don't have to like you to work with you. It's better if you like somebody.
Yeah, that's very true, G. But like you said, Tim, the narrative in today, like they're changing it. It's almost like it's like back in the day was, can't we all just get along or find a way to push through? Now it's like we have to like each other. We have to, like, that's not realistic. You're not going to like and you're not going to like and love everybody, everything. It doesn't mean we can't progress and move forward and get the job done. Doesn't mean we can't win some games, This isn't kindergarten. We're not all going to hold hands. Listen, man, Doc and Dwight were doing white lines like it was legal.
Yeah.
And
in the 80s it was.
And I'm not saying they hated each other, but I'm just saying it was like functional dysfunction on that team was
86 was, if you watch the series, the Queen series on 30 for 30, I think it was about the 86 Mets, or actually the build up from 82 to 86. I mean, there was a faction of the team that, like I said, and everyone hated Gary Carter because they thought he was fake. They thought he was phony. And then you had segments of the team that were the guys that were the religious guys, and you had the guys that were the party guys. But they still got it. They still got it together. Oh, here comes one of my favorite friends. Salute to all Giant fans. El has been on before. He was on yesterday. You have to love him. He came on. He was gracious enough also to come on the Friday night stream. So I always love it when he drops on by. And I always think, I don't know why I always think of LL Cool J. I just think, I don't know why. I know why, because it's part of a song, but I can't sing the song. So
no. If I'm thinking the same song, no.
You're thinking the same song because
yeah. Nah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we can't sing that song. We can't because you know what? We're gonna have to though. We're gonna have to have a singing happy hour. Oh my goodness, go! Who would want DJ? Oh, Pittsburgh's without a quarterback.
Somebody.
I mean, if
somebody might take a chance,
and that's the thing. If he is such a great talent, the question shouldn't be we should emphasize the who wouldn't want DJ because he's such a great talent.
And in the NFL, quarterback, everybody's looking for the next quarterback, or you know what, you got to find that coach or that team the guy who thinks he's super smart. That I can change this guy. I can make this guy work. Yeah, get him in my system.
Someone from the Knicks. Knicks always turn and go, I know this guy failed everywhere, and he was third overall. We're going to bring him in, and we're going to change
him. The Knicks are the king.
I'm still waiting for Michael Beasley. To be the impact superstar.
Listen, man, the Knicks, I was hoping we probably talked about them a little bit later before we got off the street, because the Knicks, man, I got a lot I want to say about the Knicks. I love the Knicks. I support all New York teams, but the Knicks, man, what I'm watching, it's like the Giants. It's like the Giants, man. It's like we're watching just massive ball of garbage just roll around,
rolling downhill.
And it's like, somebody's going to stop this. Is somebody going to stop this? No, we're not going to stop this. It's just going to keep going and going and going.
I think it's a good comparison to the Knicks, because I think it's also the fan base, but I think a lot of people are over evaluating the young talent on the Knicks.
Yes.
And I remember last year everyone was in love with Quickly. We should make Quickly the point guard. We should do this. I kept saying to people, he's not a point guard. He's not ready to take on a full-time role. And I said that last year. And people are like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. He just dropped 28 points. I said, yeah, but then look at the next 3 games where he dropped 6, 5, and then went 1 for 11. He needs to build consistency. He's still young.
And he's
go ahead.
No, he's like a scorer. Like, to me, I think more like a Lou Williams. Like, he can come on and be a point guard at times, but if you ask him to be like we're asking Alec Burke to do and be a point guard, I don't think he can really do that full time.
No, I've said it a million times. It reminds me of Vinnie Johnson, Microwave, from the old
the Microwave.
He just came in and he lit it up. He heated up instantly like a microwave, and that's why they call it microwave, of course. And that's what he reminds me of. Now, Vinnie Johnson would have his bad nights, and that's going to be the same thing with Quickly. But when you're under the microcosm of New York, it's like you can't have a bad night. That's not allowed. No, not at all. But the Knicks are just, but the over-evaluating of talent is an important thing. Like Evan Fournier, he's the same thing. He'll drop 40, 41, and then the next game, like you said, 5, 8, 10. Kemba Walker is just, he can't play anymore consistently with the knees. He's done. Talk about Patrick. Talk about Patrick Ewing knees. I mean, he's like, might even be worse. He might be like Kemba Walker's knees are like Patrick Ewing when the Knicks, we made that run against the Spurs in the shortened season. He's just coming on giving like spurts. But the problem is, Tibbs didn't play him for like 3 weeks. Then he got him into the game, and then he had that second really good game, but then he played him like 46 minutes. And he's a guy that maybe you can play like 20.
Tibbs, I hate to say this comparison, but he's like the guys on Ben-Hur driving the ship, the spaceship. I hate to say it. It's like
good Charlton Heston reference.
You're running these dudes into the ground, my man. And we have young guys that, hey, they may not be the greatest, but put them out there. Let's see what they can do. Why are you playing these dudes 40-something minutes?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just, hey, I was reading a text message. This is good for real. So Denver, Washington, Carolina may have interest in DJ. Those are all in Pittsburgh. Those are all three teams. We're never trading within the division, but I do think those are three teams that should have that. If you're looking at Daniel Jones being a great quarterback or a good quarterback, those should be four teams that should be like, yeah, I'll give you a third rounder for him, second rounder for him.
Washington's not taking Daniel Jones.
No, we're not giving him. We're not going to sell him into the division.
No, that we're not. We wouldn't do that, and I'm pretty sure Washington. Ron Rivera doesn't want Daniel Jones.
Nobody wants.
I'd go out on a limb and just say that right now on the record that Washington does not want Daniel Jones. I don't. It could just be hearsay, or maybe they just threw something out into the wind. But they play us enough, and trust, he has his most success against Washington. I'm never calling them that name either. I don't even know what their team name is.
You're not calling them the Commanders?
Yeah, whatever. Like, it's either the Redskins or just the Washington football team for me. The Commanders, that's like a Saturday morning cartoon show. But Washington, Denver, maybe what? Oh no, but they got the coach there from Green Bay. Their whole plan is they're trying to get A-Rod there, from Green Bay.
Yeah,
that's their whole master plan.
Yeah, I know it's the whole. They're going to do a whole Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers / thing. But I have a bigger question though. I think there's a question that has been perplexing me for a while, and as a question I would really like to get your opinion on, because I think that you are very astute with your analysis. Which was better, House Party 2 or Class Act?
Oh, damn you. Damn you.
Come on, if you say Blade Brown was not better, I'm gonna be upset with you.
Yeah, I gotta go Class Act. I gotta go Class Act, because House Party 1 was already iconic. So to come back and do it again, it was dope. The different, not a house party, but like college, it was dope.
Pajama Jammy Jam.
But, Pajama Jammy Jam, but the Class Act, man, you had so many good, ill characters in that. You had, first of all, the girl was fine that kid was messing with. Then you had, Hillary from Fresh Prince was on there.
Yep.
You had Pauly Shore was in that when he was when he was still Pauly Shore. Like, you had an ill cast in that, man, and just the premise of it, and when you could tell certain jokes and do things that you probably can't do now. You
cannot do half the stuff now. And like I said it before, I did not like at the end of House Party 2 when Full Force kind of became friends with Kid. I didn't like that.
Oh,
I like the animosity. I just remember the part in House Party when they're sitting there, he's got the gasoline, and he's like, and we're going to beat them when they come out of the burning house. And there's they look at him and go, out of the burning house.
Yeah.
I mean, so that point still. And you know what kills me also? No one ever gives credit to Full Force for their actual music.
No, they had joints.
And what they did, even on the soundtracks and on the original House Party. Well,
soundtracks is something that we're gonna sound old here talking about it, but
I'm older than you,
but what happened to soundtracks? What happened? Soundtracks, you would get records, artists would come together that you wouldn't really see and make, different songs, and, like, it would just be a different vibe, or you'd see different collection group of, like I said, artists coming together. But now there's no more soundtracks. It's done.
You used to run out and get the soundtrack on DVD, on CD or tape.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you used to run out and get it. I mean, I still have some of my CDs from soundtracks, and they're like, you're right. There are all the artists that have their top songs on a soundtrack.
Real sidetrack, because we already sidetracked for a second, but I love sharks, as you know. That's my favorite animal.
Yeah.
Y'all want to watch something funny? For anybody who loves sharks or hip hop, there's Deep Blue Sea, the movie, which is great.
Yeah.
There's a soundtrack for it. LL Cool J's in the movie, so of course he's on the soundtrack. Go to YouTube after the stream and type in LL Cool J Sharks Fin Or hat is like a Sharks fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know exactly where you're going with that.
It's crazy. It's like the best and worst thing combined, and it's like you can't stop watching. You're like, what's going on? It's like synchronized swimmers. But LL Cool J is like rapping hardcore in the water. He's like Michael Phelps, like on steroids. Like, what the hell's going on?
My goodness, crazy, we are old.
Yeah, I felt old for even bringing that up.
Bringing that, but that's not as old as House Party. So,
no, yeah,
you're a little bit closer. Vinny G, it's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Vinny G. He's listening live streaming in the car driving.
Happy born day, brother. Happy born day.
And another great subscriber coming in here, always leaving some comments. I don't know where we're at, but we're closing in on 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah, we need to get to 100,000.
I'll take 10. I'll take 10,000.
That's
I'm not I'll take 10,000.
Hey man, you shoot for the moon, you land amongst the stars.
That's true. That's a good point. We're at 9,751. That's crazy.
Almost there.
That's crazy. That's beyond crazy. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't a good one. Tibbs might have to be Joe judged. Do you think Tibbs needs to go? I mean, listen, I was against Tibbs leaving, but after the meltdown in MSG against the Nets.
Yo, the last month has been horrible.
We've blown, I think, something like 2 or 3. No, I think it was 3 or 4.
But look at the
point leads.
But look at the teams. I mean, Portland. Yeah. You lost to Portland. Who's on Portland? You lost to OKC. You made Josh Giddey look like Pistol Pete.
Yeah.
Look like Pistol Pete out there. I was like, oh, who's that? But
I think a lot of people are right now saying, who's that? Pistol Pete.
But the Tibbs, you know where Tibbs is losing me? He's not holding the guys accountable. Where he's just throwing the same lineup out there. He keeps relying on Randall. Randall is not a number one option. He never was past high school, I guess, not in the pros. And he's not holding him accountable. Like, if Randall's not going to see the media, Tibbs or Worldwide West or somebody needs to get on him with that. And if he's not going to do it, then you bench him. Let's be serious. You think Julius Randle is going to care? He's got $100 million coming to him. You bench him and make him watch. Play Obi 35, 40 minutes. Play Sims out there. So that's where Tibbs is losing me. He's not holding these dudes accountable, and he just like kind of letting the inmates run the asylum. Like, almost, it looks like it's weird. And he's a no nonsense coach. I don't know what's going on.
No, I know. I mean, but Alan's got a good question. How much do you think the NFL Combine contributes to how the Giants will draft over need? I don't think it's the Combine that the Giants fall in love with. I think it was the Senior Bowl more. I don't think. It's funny because you have the Mike Mamula moments. Well, Mike Mamula, for those that don't know, was the poster child for the Combine Warrior, and his draft stock rose exponentially because of the Combine. He was an average. He went to the Eagles, and he was an average player at best in the NFL. I personally don't think the Giants, I can't think of a player that the Giants had really fallen in love with over the last 20 years from the Combine.
No, we haven't. Like you said, Senior Bowl, we fell in love with a certain guy at the Senior Bowl recently, but no, the Combine, I think what it really comes down to is the scouts and coach having proper people in the positions to evaluate the players.
Right.
Everybody's going to try to put on their best show at the Combine and everything. Like, we know that, but we haven't evaluated players and talent properly. 5 to 10 years. That's where we have to get. Hopefully, Shane is bringing some of his people with him, because Gettleman must have had some of his old boys with him. That everybody was just one step away from retirement. Because the guys we were bringing in, I mean, you remember even bringing in Jonathan Stewart, the free agents we brought in that totally missed. But with scouting and the draft, what's going to come down to is, are our scouts on point, or is our coaching?
That's going to be the big thing. And the problem I have is we kept a lot of the guys we have right now. A lot of the guys that were not former scouts. We have a lot of guys that were scouts for the last 10, 15 years who are still scouts for the Giants right now in the building.
Yeah, we need to get I'm not going to push like guys out that have been here and have helped us build the team totally, but we need to bring in new blood and new set of eyes and new set of ears, different way of looking at things, doing things, like I said, I don't hate analytics totally, but you can't just rely on that. Right. Just like you can't go with, back in the day, I'm sure, which the Giants shied away from, the biggest, toughest, meanest guy in the bar. We'll take him. Right. Like that guy, he's going to be good on the field. You can't go that way either. Got to have a little of both. Got to mix it up.
That's a great way to put it. You got to have a little bit of both. I'm supposed to tell people to like, subscribe, and do all that fun stuff because evidently we're down on the likes. So like people. I can't believe I got to tell people to like.
You do. Hit that like button for Tim, y'all. He's dropping them facts.
You're usually in the chat telling people to like. I usually have the mod now, and I've noticed when the mods are here, the likes go through the roof, but the mods right now, both of them are unavailable.
Oh, so, it's all right. Hit the like button, though. As soon as you pop in the bar, just boop.
That's it. Hit the like, pop in the bar, hit the like button because we need the likes. We do. Yeah. We do. We need.
And this man knows what he's talking about. That's why we're here. Like it's I know OGR, bigged you up the other night. I'm gonna do a little of the same. Like you actually know what you're talking about. Never mind the fact that you have a Lando figurine and Bruce the Shark, which obviously would make me a fan, but you know what you're talking about. You were talking about Malik Willis a year ago, brother. Yeah, August. A year ago. August. And now when you see him on draft boards and you see Mel Kiper talking to, and certain people on ESPN and other networks talk about, oh no, he's a top prospect. It's like, wow, okay, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. You were right about the track coach, which he literally went back home, which is crazy.
yeah, he went back home to be an assistant head coach.
One thing I wanted to bring up, Brian Flores, hired by the Steelers, assistant, I think, linebackers coach or something on the defense, but just wanted to throw that out there. Brian Flores if Joe Judge can get a job, then Flores deserves to have a job.
Brian Flores should get a head coaching job.
And that's all I wanted to say on that.
What Brian Flores did in Miami, not liking his quarterback, basically saying that he wanted Herbert over Tua, which I think how his fortune would have changed in Miami if he got his wish, and then in season literally campaigning to bring in Deshaun Watson. I mean, the guy, outside of everything that's going on, like I said, I've said it a million times. I wanted Brian Flores as the head coach. I wanted somebody with experience. I wanted someone that was a little bit of a hard ass. I wanted someone to come in here, and you know what? And I've said it before. Joe Judge was the wannabe tough guy, and he talked the talk, but he only talked the talk when it was advantageous to himself. Brian Flores always, and I know a lot of friends in Miami, so he talked the talk no matter what. Love him or like him, he had an opinion. He stuck by it in some ways to his own detriment, which I think got himself fired because of what he did with the owner and the general manager, how they had the disagreements. But to me, that's the kind of guy I wanted in New York. I wanted a fun press conference. I wanted a Parcellian press conference, and I think you would have got that from Brian Flores.
Well, like you said, you want a guy. First of all, you need a leader. You need a guy who's going to stand in front and hold himself accountable. Like, forget just talking about the quarterback with Brian Flores. He didn't want Tua. He wanted Herbert, or he felt like there was another option, and he stuck to his guns to his own demise and detriment. Going back and forth with the owner. You can't have too many back and forth with your boss. Boss is going to get tired of that. Yeah. But he stuck to his guns.
He did.
During Joe Judge's 2 years here, I mean, what I don't even know when he would go after losses. Did he ever go there and just say, "Hey, this is all on me. I didn't have the team prepared. I didn't have the coaches prepared. No. I didn't have the beer guys prepared in the stadium. I didn't have the nacho guys, the hot dog guys prepared. Everything is on me when stuff isn't right in the stadium." Not once.
This is what Joe Judge. No, that's not true. 100%. This is what Joe Judge would do. The fish stinks from the head down. I take full responsibility from what's going on, but here are all the other people that screwed up. And then he deflects. He would talk. It's because he's very psychological, and I said that about Joe Judge. That's why I hated him from day one. He does the self-deprecation, and then he projects himself onto other people by saying, okay, I may be the fish may stink, but these other 30 guys, they screwed up more than I did. And then you're thinking to yourself, well, Joe, you're the head coach. You're blaming these other guys, but it still starts and stops with you. That's like when he threw the red flag. I knew the rule. I knew the rule. And then he goes, but I was trying to get the referee's attention. And I loved it because I even said, you didn't throw the red flag until after they kicked the extra point. And then you could have just run. It's an automatic TV timeout. You could have just ran on the field and talked to the ref. You didn't have to throw a flag to get his attention on a play that was now 2 plays ago. But it wasn't his fault. He had a reason why he did it.
Do you know what that moment was? That was the moment he literally threw the red flag, but no, that was the moment of the red flag where it was like it should have opened all of our eyes. That's like the moment when you're on a date or you're in a relationship or somewhere and the girl does something and then that you have that, we're men, so you have that guy goes, oh, we should get out of here. But then the other part of you goes, oh, no, she's hot, man. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Oh, no, we got this, man. We got this. No, that was that moment for us. He literally threw the red flag on himself. Yep. That was bad.
Yeah, he did. I love Animal House. Thank you, man. I have another. That is the feeling as a Giant fans. Yeah, that is sometimes. I always use the line from Animal House, have a beer, don't cost nothing.
Animal House, classic. That's another classic.
That's Otis. Otis Knight. Tim, they're saying I need $2 million in cap space through next season. Yeah. 1999 Luftballons. 2023. Yes, we are going to have a large amount of cap space. But everyone and Connor, I'm not making fun of you, but I'm just saying we still have 2022. That's why I keep hearing about Giant fans. Well, we have all this cap space in 2023, so we should just not play any games in 2022.
No, we got to get there. We
got a year away before
we dug ourselves this hole, guys. We're all in this foxhole together. This next year you're gonna find out how real your fandom is, because this next year is like you're gonna have some fans who are like, oh, I think there's a shot. We could be competitive and make the playoffs, and then most of us are gonna be, we just want to see things improve. Right. We just want to see change. We want to see guys fight the full 4 quarters. We want to see a defense that's not going to be giving up yards and touchdowns like it's their job instead of stopping them. We want to see a coach that, Daboll's going to have a bad game. He'll have a bad game. He's never been a head coach on this level. He's going to have and I want to see him get to the podium and be like, hey, it wasn't a good day today. Didn't have the guys prepared, but you know what? I'm going to go back, not check the tape. I don't want to hear that. But I'm going to go back and we're going to work together and come out with a better game plan next week, and say it's on me. Daboll, I already got a different feel about him. Like he seems like, more like just like down to earth, like not trying to.
He drives a truck.
Yeah.
I love that guy. He's a regular guy. He drives a truck. It's not like he lives in Buffalo where they got 12. But he's a men's man. He drives a truck. I drive a truck. Does that make me a men's man?
Listen, they don't even make cars with the manual, the stick shift like they used to, because the manhood is dropping overall just in the world. It's sad.
Not on this show. Oh
no, not here.
James, tell people to like and subscribe because we jumped up 8. We jumped up into the mid-40s.
Hit that like and subscribe. If you just walked into the club, just hit that button as soon as you walk in before you even go over to the bar. You're going to have a good time up in here. You already know.
So you need to hit that like and subscribe. You need to be the shill, because every time when I tell people, no one fucking listens.
No, I love that. What was that? I was on one day in this chat with you and Dom was on. Shout out to Dom. And the guy's like, don't beg for likes. Or some weird comment. The internet, social media, YouTube, it's so weird, man. It's like, it's like get out of here, man. Like you go into a strip club and you just sit there? You just sit there, you don't do anything? Get out of here.
COVID, you're not allowed to do anything.
Yo, do you know that in Houston, Texas, some other parts, I forgot where else in the state, but they were having drive-through strip clubs.
I
The
saw
drive-through strip
that.
club.
I actually did see that. And speaking of strip clubs,
oh, you know what time it
we
is.
have to do it for Dom because it's time to head out to Poppycockers, the #1 strip club in all of London on the West End. If you're looking to get your poppycocks, there's no better place to go than Poppycockers. It's going to be 2-for-1 Elf Night in sponsorship night. I can't even think of anything to say, so just go to Poppycockers. Couldn't think of anything else to say. Dom's always like, I thought that was just recorded. And he's like, I didn't know you did that every time. Something different. I'm like, yes, it's not.
You know what's going to happen, right? Like if you ever get some shirts made and then actually you start walking around with them, like God forbid we ever go to a Giants game with Poppycocker shirts. People go be like, hey man, people like, hey, is that
with the Poppycocker merch is out when we hit 10K?
They be like, hey, is that a new spot? Where's that at, man? I think I heard of that.
I love it, the people that actually, and I'm not making fun of anybody. I love it, the people that actually email me and DM me and go, what is one family, not a family, the dad and the son, DM me and said, can you give us the address to Poppycockers in London?
Oh, no, they didn't.
Yeah, I've probably had at least 11 different either messages and emails, people asking for the address. And I always laugh because I'm like, you understand, people, you want to go to a strip club that's in my head. It's not real. I made it up.
I'm gonna tell you right now, don't let me win the lotto or Powerball or something, because I might have to open that. Might have to open that, Tim. We're starting a movement here. You and Dom started it.
To open the pot. I love it though, because on the stream the other day, I was telling the fact that my friend's uncle is like the strip club king in Florida. He owns probably like 30 different strip clubs in different other bars, a place called like the Blue Martini and a bunch of other different places. So, and I laughed though, because someone said, you should get him to, and it was someone that's a friend who watched the show. Is like, you should get him to invest. You should get him to open up a Poppycockers. I'm like, it's like, no, people, it's not real.
I'm telling you, we're gonna manifest this place into existence. Watch.
That's what I said. We have Willin for Willis. It's going to be Willin for Poppycockers. No.
Weirder things have happened, man. Weirder things have happened. Don't be surprised if 10 years we're sitting there watching Malik Willis, 10-year veteran in the Super Bowl at Poppycockers.
Well, I don't think he's going to go. Since he's a Baptist, I don't think he's going to go to Poppycockers.
No, I mean, we're going to be in there watching him on TV. No. Oh, he's not going to be in there. No.
I don't think he's going to be there.
No.
7-9 is an improvement for us. I'll take it. I don't think we're winning 7 games. And there's now 17 games. I think 7-9 is 16. So maybe 7-10. 7-10,
and we're playing hard. And you can actually, and we've picked up some players in the draft that you can see. Oh, okay. And God forbid some of our players from last year come back and look better. With just a breath of fresh air. With Shane and Dabo and Wink coming in. Like, yeah, that would feel a hell of a lot different to all of us. Just the feel overall.
Oh, I know.
I wanted to ask, what did you think about maybe you and people in the chat about maybe taking or looking at, because we all love Saquon. We know he's injury prone, but we know when healthy, he's a weapon. He's a secret weapon when he's healthy.
Yeah.
But the Giants, in my lifetime anyway, I'm sure most of ours, when it came to running backs, we've always had that like bruiser or guy just to run in there and just get the yard, get the 2 yards. What do you think about getting? Is Booker? Is he on? Is he a 2-year deal?
I believe he was a 2-year deal.
Okay. I think he was too. I was just double checking, but
I'm Googling it right now. I don't Google. Zach, Google that. I don't Google.
But what do you think? Because obviously we have to pick up a wide receiver in the later rounds. I would think like somewhere. I was looking at a couple dudes, but with the running back position, do you think that's something we need to address? Like just to pick up somebody that's gonna just not worry about dancing a sideline, just straight north and south.
We always especially with a bad offensive line, it's a lot easier to run north and south. It's a lot easier to go to go that direction. And the problem with Saquon is Saquon had that problem even under Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur told him, stop the dancing, attack the hole. And that's literally what he did. And, his season turned around exponentially. We're going to have to ban John.
Get nothing. You lose.
Because Mr. saying, you're not going to talk about something relevant. You have no likes because there are no engaging content. Joe Judge stripper clubs. John, hate to break this news to you, and I've said it a million times. You're not getting banned. You're getting blocked because you're too dumb to watch.
Hey, sorry for boring you, brother. But if strip clubs don't interest you, I mean, hey, sorry, man.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying. I'm sorry that this is a man show.
Sorry, I know it's Sunday. Apologize if there's any ladies in the chat or anything. But if strip clubs don't interest you at all, or the fact that we actually might establish, or Tim and Dom might have their own strip club, hey, man,
I'm gonna start a GoFundMe.
I don't know, man.
So we can just have our. The problem is. You know what the problem is, James, and I'll say it because you're too nice of a guy. Some people are just stupid.
No. Some people are stupid. I have no problem saying it. It's all right, brother. Listen, you should.
I always say this. I'm 6'2", 225 right now. I can say whatever the hell I want to say. So no one's gonna talk back in real life.
You should rephrase from saying certain things. You're like De Niro in Casino. I'm like Pesci with the pen. Like let me walk over there and hand this guy the pen. You just stay over there. You're
more like Carmine's gone. Carmine's not here. Carmine left. I'm with this guy. I'm with him over here.
I'm over here now. You here? Yeah. I've been here for a while.
Yeah, I think you went across the street or something.
Yeah, you want to go over there. You want to go over there.
I just love that Carmine's not here. Carmine left. That was an underrated scene in the movie in reference to the fear that other crews had against Joe Pesci.
Oh, as soon as he walked up to you, you didn't know if he was gonna crack a joke or crack your jaw.
Yeah.
In the movies he was in, that's another thing we'll never get again. Really good gangster movies. That's over.
No, that's over. That's over and done with. I mean, and like I said, I agree with you in some regards to the fact that it's the, and I don't know if it's bled into the NFL, but there is a lack of masculinity at sometimes. And I know it's what do they call toxic masculinity now? That's the new.
Oh, that's the thing. Like
phrase.
But it has though. Look at, you said it earlier today when we first hopped on about. How many guys have the Giants not drafted or signed as free agents that would have made us better, but they had some, and I'm not even saying it's like the worst thing in the world, but there goes Zach. Zach, good looking with the numbers.
I know. He actually got that 3 minutes
crazy.
ago. We're late.
But how many guys have we passed on? How many guys have we had in-house that we let go because either they said something wrong or they look like they were going to turn right when we wanted them to go left. Yeah. We've shot in our own selves in the foot. Like, this is football. It's football. It's not, like I love tennis. It's a great sport, but this ain't tennis.
No.
This ain't Wordle on your phone. No. This is football.
This is football, and it's what you do. If we cut Booker, we save $2 million. I'm not going to cut Booker because I don't know what's going on with Saquon.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the that's the big thing. I mean, if we cut him, we don't know what's going to go on with there. And I think we do. If we get it back, if we could get it back like Austin, that type of back, I would actually agree with that. I mean, not that I don't want Saquon, because I think Saquon, I'm hoping with a different offensive philosophy that he's going to turn it around.
Yeah, the Giants, even when Tiki Barber was here, like Tiki Barber, like he could do a little razzle, but Tiki would run in the middle. Sometimes he would go get those tough yards.
People, that's a great point. People forget that about Tiki. They think of him catching the ball out of the backfield, but there is plenty of times. I would say more than 50% of his runs were up the gut.
Yeah, no,
Tiki, he was a smaller guy, but he was one of those guys that just didn't, you could run him up the middle and he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to do that. The Giants have never been a team to have, like, I know it looks cool And I know it's annoying, like playing teams like the Eagles, and you have a guy like Darren Sproles, who's like this little mouse, and he just runs out the back, and you can't tackle him, and he runs for like 40 yards. But we've never really been that team, you know. Like we've had guys with finesse, but you also got to have power.
You got to have the power. People are going to bring up like Dave Meggett. But he was more of a third down back. You know, we tried it with David Wilson, but he had the spinal stenosis.
David Wilson, he was doing backflips instead of getting first downs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's Well, he did. He was another run guy. But you're right. We need that guy. We need that someone that's going to bash into the middle. You need the Otis Anderson. You know, and the funny thing is, all 5'7" of Joe Morris, when he had all the big seasons starting in 86, or actually technically starting in 85 and running through 86, and then so on. He was a guy that's 5'7", but he was like 200 and something pounds. He looked like a bowling ball. And again, all his yards, majority of his yards were in the middle of the pile. But he would just he was so small, he would just scoot out, come out the other, and somehow you would see him disappear into the pile. And then the next minute with Joe Morris, you would look, and he was already 20 yards down the field.
Well, that's the thing about like the Giants. Like, think about if we're not Giants fans, we're on another team. Giants are coming in. It's Sunday. Let's say the season is in. Who on our team scares you? Who's somebody that you're like, oh man, this guy, like a Deebo Samuel, like, oh, this guy's tough, man. He's gonna, you know, or a Stephon Diggs receiver, like, oh man, this guy's crafty. You got to watch him. Or our quarterback is just so clutch. Or so. What are teams worried about when the Giants are coming in? You know,
that's a good point. Who are they? Are they concerned about Kenny? No. Are they concerned about Darius? No.
Leonard Williams? No, Leonard Williams is not hitting nobody until, or sacking anybody or doing anything. You know, like I see Mr. Mark down there just left a comment for us, and we respect everybody's opinion. Everybody has the right to their opinion. I'm not saying that we're right. Malik Willis could be a total bust. We could be wrong. Could be a total bust. But you know what the difference is, Mark? When you watch Malik Willis highlights, you can't tell me when you watch Daniel Jones highlights coming out of college, it was the same thing. And we took that guy, and there's no way that you can sit here and say that, well, Malik Willis is not the guy. He may not be a Giant. We don't have any control over who the Giants draft.
Yeah, I even said I give the Giants maybe a 20% chance of drafting.
Yeah, like that may not happen, for many reasons. But you can't sit here and say that, oh, if we had Willis or teams looking at Willis or Jones are going to have to game plan a lot more for Willis than Daniel Jones.
Right.
Because there's just, what are you worrying about? The deep ball? No. I mean, his legs, I guess, but he doesn't know how to slide properly. So most guys on the defense are like, well, yeah, he's going to run, but we're going to crack him and get him out the game and get Fromm in here, or Davis Webb, Davis Webb. Oh my, Davis Webb.
I love the people that love Kenny Pickett because he can slide.
But he's got small hands.
I know, but I just love the people that were like, I like Kenny Pickett because he's not like Daniel Jones. He could slide. I would rather like Kenny Pickett because he's got a good deep ball, because he knows how to throw wide receivers open, not because I like him because he knows how to slide. Mark, I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a piece of advice that I was told a long time ago. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. And that's what this show is. We're just dropping our opinions on everything else. And Joe Pesci is God. Joe Pesci, man, we're not going to have another movie like Joe Pesci. People always, you think of Casino, you think of Goodfellas, but you and I have talked about it, everyone forgets the movie The Super. Probably one of the funniest
it is
late 80s movies. Again, another movie you probably wouldn't. And William Roberts from the Giants is in the very end of that movie.
Yes,
probably
sir.
Another movie that you could never make now.
Oh no, and another movie that as soon as you watch it, oh, this is the 80s. Yeah, this is classic. This is classic right here.
I told you. I even said it to you. My favorite line is, "Why do they call you the milkman? Because I killed the milkman." I was like, that is a classic line from the movies. The world has gone nuts, Zach. The world is crazy. But you know what?
And let me just say this for you, Tim, that I may be wrong. We may be wrong. All of us that think Willis is going to be a good quarterback, but your track record speaks for itself, Tim. I got to say that.
I don't
Your
want to.
track record, your track. Let me do it for you.
Oh,
So you could just let me get out of here. Like I said, man, I got the pen.
And look embarrassed.
You know, let me give the pen out to those of you who need it. Tim, go look at his old videos. Go look at his track record. Just again, we need facts over feelings and over fantasy thoughts in Giantland. And this man over here, for whatever reason, I don't know. I guess because he drinks Black Rifle coffee, but he's been on point. Yeah. He's been on point, and you can't deny that. And
people deny it all the time.
I mean, you can, but you can't. If you're talking about facts, if you talk about numbers, if you're talking about what's real, you know, you've been more right than wrong more than a few times, especially in the last. You know, Malik Willis, you were on that train before the tracks were even finished being built. You know, like you were already on the train ready to go before there was even a station made. Now all of a sudden you see like Malik Willis on ESPN. Actually, I was like, wow, like that's when I knew. I was like, okay. I was like, all right, this is weird. Like this he called this. You know, Joe Judge not being the guy called that. You know, most of the things during the season called it. So it's not about, you know, sitting out here and pounding your chest or tooting your own horn. It's just you've said things on camera, you know, said things, put things out there, put your face to it, you know, and most of that just happened to actually come out the way you said. So, you know what, when it comes to the Malik Willis thing, especially and use your own eyes and ears, you know, we all have eyes and ears and brains, and, you know, use your own, go look at Malik Willis. Go look at some of these players, you know, go look at the tape, yeah. You know, and infer your own opinions, you know, and yes, you may disagree, you know, we may turn out to be wrong. Hey, Tim has said you don't use fifth pick on Tyler Linderbaum. Tyler Linderbaum may come out and be the greatest center the NFL has ever seen. He may change a team by himself, change a whole offensive line by himself. Cool. You're not going to be right all the time. You're not going to be wrong all the time. But
you're not always right.
But check this man's track record. He's been right more so than others out here. And the other thing about him, last thing I'll say is there's a lot of people out here who say a lot of stuff on camera or make videos and stuff. And then when stuff doesn't go their way, they don't come out and say they were wrong. They pull the Joe Judge. They deflect. Or they just don't make videos for a while.
Yeah.
You know, this man right here, he tackles tough subjects that most people don't want to talk about. He actually backs up his statements with facts, numbers. You know, he knows his history. I mean, he brings up names from Giants land that when I'm watching the stream, just like I'm sure some of you do, and I'm like, what is he talking about? Let me Google this guy. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that guy was on the team. You know, like, oh, wow. So, you know, it's good to have different of opinion, and I like seeing everybody's different of opinion. You know, I like to learn. I like to learn. If you're the smartest guy in a room, guess what? You should get out the room.
Yep. I always say if you're the smartest guy in the room, more than likely you're the dumbest guy. If you think you're the smartest guy in the room, because always the smartest guy in the room is not always right. And I do appreciate that. Like I said, I had someone send me an email, and I should read it one day. And they because they took the time, and I probably should acknowledge it and do a video on it. They went through. Because I've been on now a little over 2 years, and I have like 800 videos, and they went through most of the videos, and they wrote down things that I said that either happened or were right, and stuff that went like back. Like I'll say something like, and 8 months later it'll be right, and then you know he literally did that, and I thought that was amazing. And like I said, I just think that our success is because of the fact that we take off the fan hat. And we look, and like I said, I try to look at the Giants like I'm looking from the outside perspective, saying, if I wasn't a fan, would I be a fan of this pick, or would I do this? And I think that's kind of where I think the channel, I wanted to always differentiate between other channels. I didn't want it to be a fan channel. I wanted it to be actually an informational channel about the Giants from a Giant fan who is looking from the outside in.
Yeah, you know, like even ESPN has kind of turned into like it's like they're with the entertainment factor,
Right.
not just showing the videos and information. I don't need that all the time. Most of the time, I want my meat and potatoes. I want an honest opinion, even if you're wrong. I'd rather you stick your neck out there, be wrong, stand by it, and then say, hey, I threw something out there, that was wrong, it didn't stick. So what?
Yeah.
But we all appreciate that. That's why we're all here. It's a great chat. Got great people in the chat all the time, and there are other Giants YouTubers that are great, Bad Dog, Authentic. You got great people out here, man. OGR, he doesn't do videos anymore, but hopefully he'll get back on the mic, drop some bars. But everybody just has a different way of doing things, but the Tim way, I think we all appreciate it, and we need it. We need it in Giants land.
I don't think people started appreciating it until recently, until everything imploded.
Better late than never.
And that's what I love, because now I have people, and it's surprising me because I always joke that no one ever apologizes. Because I had to hear for 2 years how I was wrong about Joe Judge, because I said I hated him from the press conference, and I gave out all the reasons why. And when I talked about the fact, if you go back and look at the Dalvin Tomlinson picture, where he's rolling in the mud, going after the ball, Joe is. He's one of the guys. He beat on these guys, and it's an old trick. You beat on these guys for 3 months, and then you take one moment to show you're one of the guys by rolling in the mud and grabbing the ball. But if you watch Dalvin Tomlinson with the hose, and I pointed this out, even in the video, he's shooting Joe Judge. He's not shooting the ball. He's not shooting the ground. He's shooting Joe Judge in the face. And then it's very interesting that a year later, Dalvin Tomlinson, who was a linchpin for this defense, who made Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams play better, was all of a sudden gone. And we replaced him with 2 guys that make the exact same amount of salary that he would have made with the team and what he got in Minnesota. I think that's a little strange.
Yeah, no, that's telling. It's very telling. And you could go look at the video, like you said, and it's and Dalvin Tomlinson, yes, he did the dirty work, and the other 2 got
up on the stat sheets.
They got the glory and the numbers, and a lot of people, when they're watching games, they're not watching everything. They're just watching where the action is. Mm-hmm. When you're watching football, as most of us know, you got to watch the whole field. You got to watch pre-play, during the play. You got to watch the line. Is the receiver blocking? Did the tight end leak out? Did the running back pick up the blitz? Not just looking at the quarterback, seeing where he's going. You got to watch the whole play, because there's a lot that goes into just getting a 5-yard play work. Yeah. That's why we love football. It's the ultimate team sport.
It's the ultimate team sport. And I think Greg's got a great comment here. Saquon forgets sometimes that he's a 230-pound running back. I agree. I sometimes think he does forget. And we got another guy into Ahmad Bradshaw. We forgot about Ahmad. Another smaller running back, 7th round pick.
Ahmad was way tougher than Sproles.
Oh yeah, Ahmad was a tough guy.
Ahmad would run you over. Sproles ain't running over anybody.
He's not running over. But the Giants also forget. I never forget about Earth, Wind, and Fire, which was Bradshaw, Jacobs, and Ware.
Oh, that was
a backfield that we have never seen. We've seen once. And this
is Derek Ward.
Yep, Derek Ward. Rodney Hampton. Rodney, man, came in 90. When the Giants went to the Super Bowl, got hurt. Just, a couple, I think like 5 or 6 weeks before the Super Bowl. And then Otis Anderson took his spot. So, and I felt bad for Rodney because he never really experienced that success again.
Yeah, no, it's kind of over.
Not statistically, but playoff wise, he never experienced that again.
No.
But you felt bad to this guy because he carried the Giants on some bad teams as the running back. Vincent says, I don't like Tiki with his comments and commentary, but he's the best running back so far in the history. No, I got to go with Frank Gifford.
Yeah.
I know he got laid out by Bednarik, but then he came back as a flanker. But if you're talking about the best running back the Giants had, you got to go with SoCal's Frank Gifford. Not that I don't love Tiki, but sometimes you got to go through different eras.
Yeah, Tiki, yeah. He came around. I mean, we made it to a Super Bowl. He put in work. He was like multifaceted, did a lot. But he did have a really bad fumbling problem in the beginning. That was
he was on the 80
really bad
Super Bowl team. Lost, but he forget.
Because I
like Kareem's comment here. You can't hit a home run by not swinging, so you can't be scared of striking out sometimes.
It's a great point, bro.
Yeah, that is a great point, because you're right. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. The old Pat Riley. comment.
People are too caught up on, first time out. We got to go all the way. Like it's got like with the quarterbacks, it's like we're all like when Aaron Rodgers, he sat for like 3-4 years, and then when you finally seen him play, it was like, oh, the guy can play. Holy crap! Patrick Mahomes sat when he actually got to play. It was like, oh, you can actually play. Sometimes waiting, just putting in the work, it's worth it. It's not always going to be pretty the first time out. Hey, the Bengals with Burrow in a couple, they just went to a Super Bowl. What are the odds they're really going to be back in the Super Bowl in the next 5 years?
Yeah,
with all of that competition in the AFC.
That's That's the thing. OGR says, I appreciate the shout out. We always shout out OGR. We always shout out OGR. Everyone always talks to me about how can you have OGR? How can you do that? You had a problem with OGR. You two are at each other. Bah, 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 bah. And again, it's going back to the whole masculinity thing. I'm secure enough in my masculinity to say, you know what? Him and I had a disagreement. Doesn't mean I hate you because I disagree with you. Doesn't mean I can't be your friend because I disagree with you. I've talked about it before. I've gotten into drag out actual brawls with friends. I tell the story that I got into a fight with a friend, and literally, I punched him in the face. He punched me in the face. At one point in time, we're both laying on the floor with our backs against the couch. And I looked at him. I said, you want to go grab a beer? He's like, yeah. And I love it because his girlfriend looks at me and goes, you two just literally got into a fist fight. Now you're going to go out? I said, yeah, because you know what? The problem's now over. It's done. We got it out of our system. We're still friends. So now it's done and it's over with. You just move on. And I think that's the problem sometimes Giants fans have. They don't know how to and I think this some ways can go with Daniel Jones. They don't know how to move on. And they just don't know how to say, you know what, you didn't think I was going to bring that back around to Daniel Jones. you made a mistake, admit to it, and just go. And just go on your merry way.
Well, the Joe Judge thing too, like Mara didn't want to fire Joe Judge.
No.
He didn't want to fire Joe Judge. But if you watch the tail end of the season and then you watch him on in his press conference, he sunk himself. Yeah. But Mara did not want to fire Joe Judge. Don't get it twisted, people. We're all sitting here excited. We got a new regime coming in, and it's exciting, and we can't wait to see what they're going to do. But we were this close and a couple bad press conferences away from sitting right here with the track coach again.
Yeah,
this close. Mara did not want to reset the world in Giants land again. He didn't want to do that.
You know what the problem was? If you take a look at Joe Judge and you take a look at Pat Shurmur, everyone bashes Pat Shurmur, and I hated Pat Shurmur. And I said, Pat Shurmur, when he won, he was the smartest guy in the room. When he lost, it was everyone else's fault. But Pat Shurmur's first season, we lost 4 games in the last 2 minutes with the lead. We could have won those 4. I think it was 4 out of 6 games we lost by having the lead, having Eli Manning come back and lead the team for the winning score, alleged winning score, and giving the other team the ball back with under 2 minutes. And we lost 4 of those 6 games. Now, one of those, of course, was on the Graham Gano record-setting field goal, but we still lost 4 of those games. The team never quit on Pat Shurmur. And I've said that a million times. They never quit on Pat Shurmur. They quit on Joe Judge in the end, but they never quit on Shurmur. And I've said, if anything, if anyone deserved year 3, it was Shurmur, but it was like Joe Judge, it was his personality with the press, with the media, with the organization that pushed him out the door. And Joe Judge basically pushed himself out the door by saying all the things that he said.
Well, the other reason why I felt Shurmur deserved more time is he was one of the main proponents of drafting Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
And in the world of common sense, if this coach wanted this quarterback, our GM at the time listened to him. We drafted that quarterback. The quarterback actually, with that coach, okay, he looked pretty good. Okay, with Shurmur. Then you have to give him some time to see if he can mold that guy. Yes, was Shurmur a train wreck as a coach and, as a leader?
As a coach in Cleveland.
He was, but you got to give him time. Maybe give him time to see if he could figure it out. I do think with the Shurmur thing, more than the others, I agree that But mainly because of the Daniel Jones factor and the grooming. Like, if this is his man, then let him go down with his quarterback. Because guess what? If we gave Shermer some more time with Jones and then didn't work out, we'd already be moving on, and we wouldn't even be here right now. Still,
right. We got two super chats from Tuto we need to recognize. I'll be fined, ejected, and suspended every game if I ever played in the NFL. Sweet sounds of bones crushing, crackling when you tackle. Hit them hard, 180. I agree, man. That was when I played back in the day. That was the thing. That's
right.
And I've told the story a million times. I had a linebacker coach, and I was a safety, and they made me play linebacker for a couple of games because everyone got hurt. And he basically just told me, like I said, he was a big Southern guy. He told me, he goes, you know what your job is? I said, what? He goes, your job is to stand right here, and your job is to go 2 yards that way, 4 yards that way, 4 yards this way, 4 yards that way. You can't do anything else. This is your tackle box. Anything that comes in here, you just kill. And that was my job. That was my job for 3 weeks. Wasn't allowed to go into coverage. Wasn't allowed to do anything else. Had to stay in my tackle box. But he made the point of saying, whoever comes into this tackle box, whoever comes into this zone, you need to destroy them. And that's what you need to do. And I always say, I will always remember that, and I'll never forget that as well. Tuto dropping another super chat saying, salute Tim for all the trainers. They take the notes from you and shows how to fix the trenches, translate them to rugby, make them work. I guess I'm beginning to think more and more that rugby is, like I said, I've watched rugby like on ESPN3. But I think that's getting more and more like the
it looks pretty brutal anytime I've seen it. It looks pretty rough. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've seen some rugby highlights where I'm like, is that legal?
Yeah,
You're allowed to do that?
Are you allowed to? Mr. For Real comes out. That sounds like the fight and They Live. Yeah, actually, it was. Was it Brian Keith and Roddy Piper?
Roddy.
That is a great scene because I think everyone knows that I love the They Live movie.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
That was my favorite line from Roddy Piper in the movie They Live. That's another underrated 80s movie that you probably couldn't make. You couldn't make it. Oh, someone's worried about something. Vincent's worried about something. What are you worried about? I'm worried about the potential of our so-called top talent players that seem to be injury prone. Is it the training staff or just bad luck? What do you think?
Combination. Everything is a combination. It's bad luck, training staff, and then what are the players doing themselves? Are they helping themselves? To me, like, look at a guy like Anthony Davis in the NBA. That guy is plastic, man.
Yeah. And
some of that may just be his genes, his bones, but it's also like, are you taking care of yourself in the off season? Are you doing what the coaches are asking you to do in the off season? Are you maintaining yourself when we're not around? Coaching also, like Vince just said, I don't believe our coaches and our medical staff is really on par with some of the better ones in the league over the past few years, because hamstring injuries, just same injuries over and over and over.
It's the quad injuries that bug me.
I just don't understand why so many of our skill position guys, and I know skill position guys, hamstring, it's going to happen, but it's just repetitive. Tim, I may have to jump out for a second. I got to take a call.
Well, that's okay, because we're going to be wrapping up anyway. So if you need to drop off, that's fine, because we're going to wrap up in about 5 minutes anyways, because we always close it at the 2-hour mark. But if you got to take a call, that's like I said, we appreciate you hanging in here for an hour and 53 minutes. Yeah, it's been that long. Oh, no. Did we lose you? James? Come in, James. Well, it looks like James either froze. I think we lost James there for a minute. We're gonna. I think we lost. I think we got. James is. You know what? I'm gonna miss James. he's frozen in time. I think he had to jump on a call. We're gonna grab a couple more of these comments in these chats. I'm worried about the injuries. I really do. I don't understand. So, like I said, the quad injuries to me, I think it's an overusage of the muscles. I think that's an issue. Greg says Tim has the best giant content. Always brutally honest. Let's get this man to 10K. We're almost at 10K, and James, hopefully we can bring him back if he if he's coming back, because I'm still watching him. He's frozen. Look at this. We'll bring James back in. He's gone. He's frozen in time. James was good on the show. James is great on the show. If you were an OGR member, an OGR, you should be an OGR member. He doesn't have any videos, but go subscribe anyways. If you're an OG Online Big Blue member, it's a big $1.99 a month, and all the money goes to charity. If you want to come on a Sunday and co-host a show, that's one of the perks. You pick a day, you pick a show, and you come on, and you could be the co-host for a day. You can hell even let you run the show. But everyone says peace to James. James was awesome. James was great. James, he was always good. We got a lot of good comments for the James. Because you know what? He's great. And as soon as I was dropping another super chat going, contrary to the NFL, we don't wear pads, body protection, or diapers. Not everyone was born or built to play the sport. Scars and bruises and triumph. Yeah, I know the feeling, man. I was actually, I was laughing. I was laughing because I got so many injuries. I was actually trying to put on another knee brace today. I got 2 bad knees. And people ask me, would you let your son play football if he wanted to play football? And I always say yes. But I wouldn't let him play to the extent that I played because of the fact that, I went too far in a career where I should have stopped a lot earlier because of injuries. A lot could do with the injuries due to Joe Judge's lapse. I honestly don't think it was the lapse because these happened during the season. I don't know if it's stretching. I don't know if it's, I don't know. But I think it's just interesting that you always see a guy out with a quad. What how is everyone pulling a quad muscle? Don't forget to like, people. Subscribe. I forgot what number we got to hit 10,000. But I don't know. Tyrone says, look at Martinez and how he was injured. Gave us flexibility as we needed to be. Could be their diets, but clearly it's movements. Just can't just switch and twitch without repercussions. That's a good question. Can't just switch and twitch without repercussions at some point. It's a great point, Tyrone. It really is. Let's see here. Will you sign Aaron Judge? If so, how many years? Aaron Judge to me is the star of the Yankees, of course. He is the Darryl Strawberry. He is the straw that stirs the drink. But you got to be fearful of the injuries. You got to be fearful at times of his inconsistencies. But they're the Yankees. Of course they're going to sign him. Of course. And for real, it's like, give him 7 years. Of course you're going to sign him. Basketball had bad injuries too. Look at Rondo's injury history in the playoffs, and he still played. Yeah, I mean, that's the point. Like I said, I should have played basketball. I had more talent in basketball than I ever had in football. Me, when I played football, was just sheer will. It was will and desire. I actually had talent, but the problem was, I've said it before, problem was I was on a team with a guy that never made it to the pros, but he was highly recruited, and the people from Wake Forest came to see him play, and I had a good game, but I was 6'2" playing center, and I love it because the guy from Wake Forest came up and he just introduced himself real nice, and he goes, "I just want to tell you something." I said, "What?" He goes, "If you were," he was like, "you were 9 inches taller, I would be recruiting you." He says, "But you have the one thing I cannot teach in basketball, and that's height." And he goes, "And it's interesting that God blessed you with the skills of a 7-footer when you're 6'2". And that's true. Rugby doesn't have the constant full-speed head-on impact as football. They're 2 different sports. But I think rugby is also more perpetual motion. I know they have the scrum and everything else, but I don't think they I think there's more movement. To me, football is always, it's 45 seconds of standing around for 4 to 7 seconds of explosion. And I think that's the thing. Injuries due to the turf. I don't think it's the turf. If it was more ACLs besides, and Barkley's ACL was in Chicago, I don't think it's the Giants' turf. The Achilles is not an ACL injury. I mean, the Achilles is not is a repetitive injury, which is repetitive motion of the tendon. It doesn't tear because of the turf. It just tears over time because of it's a repetitive motion injury, especially on a tendon that's used on wide receivers for an explosive movement, which causes the tendon to fray. I know a lot about that for some reason. I have a friend that's a they do sports medicine. I need a lot of friends with sports medicine because I need a lot of it. I believe it's hydration. The quads need a lot of water, so I believe it's insufficient hydration and stretching. That could be it too. I don't know. Like I said, I just find it interesting. Will the Thrill Hill, man, he was good. He had to stay off the drugs, but he was great for the Giants. A lot of athletes turn to yoga to prevent injuries. The only problem with yoga, Jeff, is I remember, and I'm going back old. I remember back Butch Woolfolk. 82, we drafted him out of Michigan. He looked like he was a fire hydrant. And then he switched to yoga. 83 season, he ran for over 857 yards on like something crazy, like 200 and something carries. He then had the record of most carries in a game against Dallas. I think it was like 45 carries. I don't remember exactly. But he never had the same size and explosiveness. So when he switched to yoga, and he switched to yoga to help gain his flexibility to avoid injuries, but he was never the same player after that. Tuto says our entire rugby team as Italy loves Tim Shaw. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. His wise comments on how to fix the broken holes and the issues. He's always has a defensive opinion with the solution. I always believe in defense. Your best offense is a good defense. You attack. And you know what the thing is, and Tuto understands this for rugby. You attack. It's easier to attack going forward than it is to defend going backwards. It's an emotion. It's perpetual motion. It's forward motion. And that's what I always believed. And that's what I still believe, that to me, it's an attacking style. And that's the way you got to look at it. Rugby, you can only pass the ball forward. I didn't know that. I don't know a lot about rugby. Rugby is 245 minutes nonstop, have no pound. Yeah, that's the thing about rugby. That I know. Rugby to me is you got the scrum, it's full contact. And like I said, I think we've had a couple of NFL players that were rugby players. I mean, I think there's a great correlation between those two sports. For the Real comes in with Rob Carpenter and Butch Wolf. Rob Carpenter, of course, came over from the Houston Oilers. Great pickup for the Giants, especially when they were kind of in the doldrums. Rob Carpenter, number 26. I miss Rob Carpenter. He was another guy, Rob Carpenter, kind of a spark plug guy, kind of a low to the ground, low center to the ground. I remember that seeing wearing that number 26. The NFL practices less full pads, no more 2-a-days. I remember 3-a-days, and shorter training camps. Yet the injuries are skyrocketing. These guys are now just soft. Yeah, it's not. That's not. Do you think that George Pickens, a wide receiver from Georgia, he is more of a I actually like. I know you talk. I haven't done a video on him yet. I actually like him, but I think the Giants he would be a great depth piece. He really would be, but the Giants have so many holes. Did we talk about Tom Brady's and the 49ers yet? What's going on with Tom Brady and the 49ers? I'll have to Google that. Zach, what's going on with Tom Brady and the 49ers? You're going to go to the 49ers to make them? Bruce Arians is not happy with the report with Tom Brady. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Tom Brady for it. I've heard complaints about MetLife. You always hear complaints about it. You heard complaints about the Meadowlands. The Meadowlands I have been on the field at the Meadow. I have been on the field in MetLife. I've posted pictures. I've been on the field in the Meadowlands. The Meadowlands was like playing on that AstroTurf was like playing on concrete in the 80s. And they still don't have these same type of injuries. Eric says, first thing all morning, I disagree with you. Oh, it's okay. With you, Tim, I think the turf is a much bigger factor than people realize, such as shifty ground, knowing the ability to the land to absorb LT packers with just. I'm not disagreeing with you, Eric. I'm not saying that, but like you said, they're saying that this synthetic turf is safer than grass. It's not back in the early 2000s and in the 80s with that turf. You had to worry about the seams. I played on turf where you had to worry about the seams, and there's seams in these turfs. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, it could be, I don't know. It's okay if you disagree with me. That's all right. I don't mind. If Barkley ends up having a great season next year, do you get rid of him? No, I already said, Ron. I said if Barkley can prove that he's healthy, that we have to watch him. We got to keep him. Don't forget to hit the like button, especially if you want Malik. Hit the like, people. We've hit over 60 likes. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone that was coming in there. G.I. Joe, He-Man, Transformers. Which cartoon are you into? Thundercats. Thundercats are on the move. Thundercats are loose. I love Thundercats. Thundercats was a great underrated show. Lion-O, Panthera, Chitara. I watched all of them as a kid. G.I. Joe was in the morning. Thundercats is when I came home. Thundercats are on the loose. What do you think about the Giants' weight staff? You mean like the weightlifting staff? I don't know much about their personal trainers. I think they should get rid of them. Rugby is a sport, is a tough sport. Man, you especially fit. Yeah, you got to be fit. I mean, it's called a scrum in rugby. I had to look that up because Don was like, you would be a good hooker. It's like, well, that's a little personal. Do you think about the Giants waiting another? Here's the thing with CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. You don't know. You don't know if someone's going to get hurt. You don't know if someone's going to get injured. You don't know. If you're always waiting for next year to get a quarterback, when does next year stop? When does it stop waiting? Be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. He predicts Brady will be the starting quarterback for the 49ers. If he's talking, it's a talking head. Oh, it's a bad. Okay. I didn't know what was going on. But thank you, Zach. Thank you for dropping that in. Yeah, we have holes, but I believe one of them is at wide receiver because you aren't keeping Sterling Shepard, and we know if Kenny Galladay and Tony will play a full season. I don't trust their durability either, but you can't keep throwing bad money. You can't keep throwing good money at a bad situation. And right now, allegedly, we have the talent. Everyone overlooks this one little scenario, one little situation. We don't have a tight end. People are worried about the wide receivers. You're getting rid of Evan Ingram. You're getting rid of Kyle Rudolph. And Caden Smith to me is a third tight end at best. We don't have a starting tight end on this roster. Tuto, the super chat. All rugby players who are not aware of consequences are very short careers. Time spent due to the violence, less contact rules, and severe injuries. I watched rugby on, like I said, it was ESPN3. And I tell you, man, I don't think I could play rugby. I don't even think if I was back in my younger days, I could play rugby. First of all, you look at Tuto and it's like, I want to make sure that I want to make sure at the end of the day, I'm still alive. But it's a fun sport to watch. It really is. Boom, Thundercats are on. No, I get your point 100%. Just like the way grass gives a little more than when you're running hard or making quick cuts on the grass, given the reason that could be the reason. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not a turfologist. I really don't know what causes injury because I've seen plenty of people that have gotten hurt on grass. And then how many times have you seen people complain about the sod on grass fields? Because basically, especially if there's other events, they're just squares of sod that are placed in together and given enough time to kind of mesh together. And they cause seams as well. He-Man versus Lion-O. You know, they're both whiny until they have to have the power. They're both kind of whiny. But if I gotta pick anything, you gotta go with the power of Grayskull. I gotta go with He-Man. I gotta go with He-Man there. I tell you when it stops when I get this Cooper Manning kid's Archie Manning. When we get Archie Manning, that's when it stops. When we get a Manning, we'll call it quits. Let's see. No, I don't want either of them at 5 or 7. I still need a like I said, I'm still going Devin Lloyd. And at 7. I don't know who I'm going to pick at 5. What is this? Rugby tackles are a lot safer than NFL tackling. The scrum is a dangerous part of rugby. I used to watch rugby with my grandmother because they were fun to watch. Yeah, I like watching rugby. Tuto, drop another super chat. 6'4", 245, 36-inch arms, 9% body fat, 5th year overall pro, first team for 2nd World Cup winner, defensive rookie of the year, 2-time runner-up MVP, nightmare for all those that played. Yeah, you look like you're about 6'4", 245. And I could agree with you being a nightmare. Because that's a 245. You're a big boy. You are in 36-inch arms. That's big. I got big arms, but I don't know. My arms aren't 36 inches. I got big, long arms. My arms are 36 inches. Giants need to draft Eric Stingley because he's a stud shutdown corner in the NFL. He's ready. I can't take a corner 5 or 7. I can't. We have too many other holes. You do have guys on this roster. You got to see if Robinson can play corner. You got to see if Rodarius Williams can play. You still have Adoree Jackson. You still have Darnay Holmes. You still have Julian Love. I think you can fill. I still think Julian Love would be a better corner than he is at safety at times. So I have more immediate and pressing needs. And look what happened when Detroit went so high on the corner. That didn't work out too well for Detroit. What's up, Logic's Finals? I'm very late, but I'll have to run. We'll catch the replay. Have a great day. Best to you and your family. Thank you. We're going to be checking out of here anyways, guys. It's been a good stream. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. I don't know what we're at. I don't know where we're at this. I don't know what the subscriber count is here. Let's see here. I don't know how to look at the subscriber count. Oh, motherfucker. I don't know what the subscriber count is, but we're trying to hit 10,000. I'd appreciate it if we can hit 10,000. I don't know what the count is right now. I'm trying to find it. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all the people that have stayed in the room. I appreciate all the people that have hung in here for the full 2 hours. It's always a great 2 hours on Sunday. I really enjoy doing the Sunday show. I think we have some of the best subscribers that, really that out there. We're at 9,753. I do think we have some of the best subscribers out there because I think we have some of the most intelligent ones in reference to the Giants, the fan base, and understanding of football. So I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you guys hanging in there and dropping in there. Next stream, of course, is on Tuesday. That is at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Dahmer. We'll have Dom on as always, talking Giants, talking poppycockers, talking all fun stuff. I doubt we'll be at 10,000 by then because our subscriber count has slowed down. I've been telling people I tried to reach 10,000 before the lull in the season between now and the 16th. I've been trying to hit 10,000 before then. So we went from gaining almost 1,300 subscribers in the last 30 days to like maybe gaining 6 or 7 a day. So we'll get there though. We'll get there. If I want to address Yolan, I want to take Neil, but I don't think he's going to be there. And I can't take Kyle Hamilton. I've said this before, Ron. Only one safety has gone in the top 10 in the last 10 years, and that's Jamal Adams. So it's again in reference to, it's in reference to positional value. And that's what we need. And that's what we need to take a look at. Zach's coming in at 9,579. Oh, really? No, I'm over that, Zach. I'm at 9,753. I'm actually went on the page. Social Blade is running slow, the connection, if you're looking on Social Blade. But we're at 9,753. We gained 1,556 in the last 28 days. We've slowed down a lot, but you know what? There's nothing to talk about. There's no really content yet, so we'll still grind out daily videos. We're going to still do all that fun stuff. So I appreciate everyone's hanging in here for the last 2 hours. I salute you. I thank everyone. Wish Tuto luck in his playoff games and everything else. We want to thank Mr. Big James Williams for coming in here and staying around for almost 2 hours. And again, if you want to join the OG Online Big Blue members, $1.99 a month, you get to pick yourself a day, and you will be the co-host. You get to pick a Sunday. You can come on and be a co-host with me. That's one of the perks. That, and you get members only videos. You get the cool little icon thingies. And we're going to come up with some other fun stuff. So I appreciate everyone for hanging out. I'm out of here. Have yourself a good Sunday. Stay safe. And you know what? We will see everyone Tuesday, 10:30. Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night. Good night. All right, everyone. Have yourself a good